Live from Hollywood, California, Viva.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Hey, I just thought I'd drop in. How's it
No,
going over there?
I was telling you all these rookie cards that I got, but then I heard jazz music in my ears and had no idea what was going on. So this is what we're doing now. We're getting all
Okay,
of these.
well, who is this guy playing yet? Is he already in the majors?
I have no idea. These are in the majors. I think these are no. These were the no. These are in the majors. His name is Emmanuel Valdez for the Red Sox.
Okay, that's a real guy. I mean, rookie cards. Rookie card. I just so you know, my grandmother used to work for Topps. Are those Topps cards? Who's the maker of those cards?
Oh, these are Topps. These are Topps.
Yeah, my grandmother worked for Topps as a secretary, so she'd bring home. I know this sounds unbelievable. She'd bring home cartons of cards every weekend, and I ruled my neighborhood for over a decade, dominating the earth, controlling thousands and thousands of baseball cards.
Well, but that is amazing. Did you maintain them in proper condition? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, most of them are gone. I've sold some, and I have some, but I mean, I didn't become a collector. I didn't do that.
Well, I've gotten totally neurotic. So, however worthless the card, I still put it in a penny sleeve and then put it in a top loader.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, for the extra 50 cents per card, we're just going to do this to all the rookies and then see who become Hall of Famers. And in 10 years, we'll see if they're worth $5.
Well, did you collect stamps as a kid? What was your?
I did baseball cards for a bit back in upper deck, 91 to 93 or 90 to 93.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
And then coins. I was always into coins and fossils. And
wait, I mean, did you have dinosaur bones in your bedroom or?
No.
Wait a second. First of all, let me just introduce what the hell we're doing there, because we were talking before the show. Viva, David Freiheit, old friend of the show, of the old show.
You're not supposed to say you shouldn't say my name. I'm not supposed to be publicly identified.
Okay, well that's going to be it. David X, aka Viva from the other channel over there.
That was
now based in the United States of America. What's your status now? You're
non-immigrant visa, but I've everything's backed up. So I've applied for permanent residence.
Okay.
And, look, at some point there's no hiding it. There was never any hiding it. I don't see a future for myself in Canada. If I have to go back, I have to go back. But we've applied for permanent residence, and Florida has, I always think about if I write a book, what would the title be? And
right.
I'm thinking, I've always been a Florida man, and I think I've discovered
that's a good title. Well, welcome to the show. This is the new channel, What's Up with Lordbuckly. This is going to be just me interviewing friends, completely evergreen. So it's not a current events thing. It's completely a safe space to talk about how you became who you are today, your background, how you became Viva, the squirrel stories, your family, how you escaped in the Underground Railroad from Canada into the United States with Harriet Tubman for $100. That entire thing we're going to cover in today's episode. But you might want to subscribe if you haven't. We're just getting started. I'm not going to go over this a million times, but you can subscribe to the channel. Hit the like for the algorithm, says Ohio Pat. Way to go. These people know a lot more than this complete boomer knows about how to run this thing. I have everything like I said last week, everything I've learned from Hunley, and I still know nothing. And he is more patient than Job in dealing with my lack of attention span.
It is, well, I mean, you learn through trial and error.
Yeah.
10 years for me before I even realize certain things in terms of I don't do it, but chasing trends or tag words or proper descriptions. Wow. You'll get the hang of all of it. But
yeah, I'm sure I will. Yeah, I've got very few years left, so I think I'm going to skip that phase of development. Now, Viva's the second guest. Hunley was obviously the first guest because we've been together, but I've been on Viva's show. Viva's been on our show. I've been in Viva's house. I know his kids now. I feel like I'm the crazy uncle who comes from Hollywood, California with crackpot stories for the kids. I make half of them up. They think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a gay man who lives in Hollywood as a post office official. I mean, I've told them some crazy crap, but the kids seem to like me and they seem to put up with it. His wife is a lot nicer than him and just really calm. Marion is just I believe, and I may be speaking out of school here, she just seems like a very calming force on a very chaotic, crazy household.
she's like, it's the people feel, I say like, she's the best person on earth, period. My kid asked me the other day, like, who's your best friend? And I said, well, it's mom. It's like, well, your wife doesn't count. I was like, first of all, not only does she count, it's like, she is my best friend on earth. And they say the yin to the yang. She is absolutely calm, zen, rational. And I just joked with her like a minute ago. She's out in the back reading a book on kids and learning to write. And I'm
Right.
sending out shit posts on Twitter. Very, very much the yin. We met when she was 17. This is nothing.
Wait a second. How old are you guys here? And this is where
gotta be 18 and 20 or 19 and 21, give or take. So
19 on the left, 21 on the right, or
no, I'm 2 years older than her. So I met her.
Okay, right.
I met her when she was 17. When I met her, I was 19, which is all fine in Canada, everybody. And then the year that I met her was, ironically enough, the summer before I was going to Paris, because I had recently fallen in love with a German girl before meeting Marion.
Wait, because why the Germans? I mean, of all the different races.
When you're a kid, there is no logic to it. I was at a dog run and I met this girl, and this was before ever having met Marion. And then you're 18, or I was 18, what is it called? Heart sick, whatever. So I'm telling my parents, how do I get closer to this German girl? They say you can do an exchange. I'm like, okay, great. I spend all this time doing an application for an exchange program to France because
hold on for a second, not to interfere, but how old are you now?
46.
Oh, you look great for 46. You look great.
I've been with Marion we've been together since 1999, with like a 6-month pause when I went to France, because long story short is I met this German girl, fell in love with her, decided I need to be closer to her, applied, got an exchange to Paris. And then the summer before going to Paris, I met Marion, and come August, I didn't want to go to Paris anymore. So then I had to go to Paris. Marion came to visit me in Paris.
Wait. We got to back up. What are you doing? You're jumping too far. I want to start when you looked like a baby. When you were a little baby, like, what did you look like as a baby?
If only I had that picture. I looked
maybe we could find something on the internet.
No, I looked like a baby orangutan.
You look like a baby monkey?
Yeah, effectively, I was a big fat baby. I'm the youngest of 5.
Do we have a picture of Viva as a baby out there? Anybody?
I know that I've got.
What about
there?
This?
It is. Oh, shit! That is me. You tell me that baby doesn't look like a monkey. Like I look like
you know what? There is a simian quality to. I wouldn't say monkey, but there is some kind of simian relationship with those eyes you're talking about, or
no? This looks like the baby chimp that was scratching its butt and sniffed its finger and fell out of the tree. Very realistic about what I looked like. I was a cute baby.
Right.
10 pounds, 6 ounces.
That's pretty big for back then.
Youngest of 5, vaginal birth for anybody who's interested. I just fell right out. And the youngest of 5 kids. My oldest brother, 8.5 years older than me, goes boy, boy, girl, boy, boy. And I was I was cute. Let me fast forward a little bit. I was the biggest pain in the ass on earth. It's like the first kid was obviously the best, smartest, performed the best, became a concert pianist. And
wow.
It got progressively worse from there. Then the second one was very good. A third one.
So you think this was like a genetic decline from 1 through 5?
Well, I could say that, like, in retrospect.
Well, let's take a look at the breeders. Is there a picture of the 2 breeders that created this monstrosity?
Well, now that I know you got them, let's see this.
No. Let's see if there's any pictures of Viva's breeders, the ones who created him that rainy night in Montreal when they stumbled into the back seat of a 57 Chevy. Oh, here they are. They look pretty normal.
That's
Wait a minute.
Holy, that's my
mother. Look how nice he looks. They look like a normal couple.
But this is after my mother's frizzy hair era of the 80s. My mother used to perm her hair. And nothing's changed. My mom takes.
Wait, what's your mom's name, first of all?
Barbara.
That's Barbara. What's your father's name?
Mortimer. If you've never met a Mortimer.
Barbara and Mortimer. They call him Morty. They say Morty.
They call him Morty, or they call him Mort if he wants to be cool. At the they always say in Florida he goes by Mort because they have a place. How
does he like it? Has he visited, by the way?
In Florida?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, they have a place. They just don't visit it often enough because they've got a dog now who they can't travel with, or not as easily. It's a big bull mastiff. But no, that must be when I was about, I say 10 to 13, early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. And everybody, I got in an elevator at a building. It was a building where my dad works, so that narrows down the odds. Someone looked at me and said, "You're Mortimer's son, aren't you?" I was like, "We're about the same height, about the same build. I think I'm a little more muscular, but probably just as a result of, I don't know, modern technology and exercise."
Well,
And,
what did he do? He was a lawyer. Did he have a firm? Was he a private lawyer?
He was he was consistently rated the top 25 lawyers in Canada year over year for 25 years.
And what kind of law, Viva?
Commercial litigator. So he started up the litigation. He was the head of the litigation department at a place called Stikeman Elliott. And for anybody who's from Canada, you'll know it's they call them one of the I think it's one of the 5 big sisters. Stikeman Elliott is the top 3 most reputable law firms in all of Canada. Full stop, hands down.
Wow.
He started there. He became.
It's not restricted. It was never restricted.
In terms of what Jews?
Well, in the United States, that was quite common up until, if you watch Mad Men, even you'll see restrictions on the ad agencies, law firms, and everything else in the United States. I don't know if it applies to Canada. That's why I'm asking.
No, they have. I thought my understanding historically it would have been a little earlier, but he started in the 60s. Okay. He's been there for 50 years. So, or he was there for 50 years, but he was consistently rated with one of the best lawyers in Canada. Commercial litigator, they called him a bulldog. Head of the litigation department.
He was a trial lawyer, or
he was a trial lawyer. Right. Trial lawyer, commercial civil litigation. He did appellate work, but he was just a great lawyer, and not just like feared, but it's an interesting thing. Feared, respected, and has an untarnished reputation professionally, morally, spiritually. As far as my parents are still married after
that's crazy
50 some odd years. Wow. As far as I know, he's never had an affair, never cheated, was known as sort of the not a wet blanket, but it's not often that happens.
So to quote Viva, he kept his schmecky in his pants.
That's where I learned it from. I'm fairly certain my dad told us, keep your schmeckle in your pants, get married, stay married.
Right. Well, you've done 2 out of 3, so that 2 out of 2 so far.
And I'm going on now. It's going to be 17 or 18 years with my wife. It's going to be 18 years in September with my wife.
So did she just let you run loose, like making videos and stuff? And she's just doing her own thing. It looks to me like she's busy. She doesn't seem to be yelling, get in here, do the dishes, do this or that. I don't hear that when I'm visiting.
She is not and has never been a nag. She's
not a nag.
She's never been like I say culturally upbringing wise. She was born in a small town. Nobody's going to know it, called Bedford in Quebec. It's a border town. At one point in time, a third of the town got arrested for drug dealing. Her father, too, kept his schmeckle in his pants and didn't get into the bad business. A third of the town was arrested for cross-border drug smuggling. This is like late 80s. So she's born in small town Quebec, Anglophone, and just like not to play on stereotypes, but I do also subscribe to the idea that stereotypes exist because they are time tested and true to traditions.
And how about repetitive 9 million times before they are called a stereotype? Okay, so did you get involved in heroin and weed, or what did you do as a kid? Did you go off the rails and start to do crazy crap at the age of 13 or 14?
I'd say probably earlier than that in terms of behavior. So look, you get to live life backwards when you have kids, and you also get to reassess your own mental framework when you were a kid. You don't understand what you're thinking and why you're thinking.
The girls seem to gravitate towards their mother, and the boy seems to gravitate towards you.
Do you hear the kid screaming like a maniac in the background? This is another thing. You appreciate the degree to which your kids sometimes are, sometimes not. But in my case, Ethan is a mini me, which is why he drives ballistic sometimes. But he does things. I won't say things that are embarrassing. He does things that I did as a kid that he has no way of knowing that I did as a kid. And so
you think that's genetic or learned?
I think it's chemical in the brains. Like your brain is wired a certain way, and you pass that down, and then certain brain wiring.
The sex plays into it too, because the girls are very calm.
Well, the middle one, not so much. The older one definitely got my wife, Marion's genetics.
She seems like your wife. She seems just like your wife.
Impossibly perfect kid. Like it's first kid
and a very good actress. Here's a group of them. Let's take a look at some of these.
Look at this. So this is
that's Ethan, right?
That's Ethan. That's Lila. That's Mila. That's Marion. This was
Right.
about 6 years ago. I know exactly where we were. This was like at a place called, it's called Saint Remy de Haha or something. It's a place in Quebec called Haha, and it's on one of our road trips. Marion and I, we used to do road trips all the time. So the kid had blonde hair, like I used to have blondish hair, and then it turns dark as I got older.
Yeah, what is that about? Is that why does that happen? You hear that a lot. You see that a lot.
Yep. No, my hair was well, it was light when I was a kid, then it got dark, and now it gets blonde in the sun.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, it's like the kid is a mini me for good. I say for good and for bad. He's a kid. There's no real bad. It's just pain in the neck to the parents. But I appreciate my own childhood and how I drove my parents crazy when I was a kid. Like,
yeah, who didn't?
Now that he's
what about these brothers? There's a picture. I think we have a picture of everybody together in a sandbox or something. I don't know.
Oh God, I know.
There's a photo of all 5 siblings. Yeah, what is going on here?
So you look
tell
at
me
me.
Who these people are?
Do I not look like a monkey in there? Like, it's not possible.
Which one are you?
I'm the little fat one in the middle.
Oh my God, you do look like a monkey.
Okay, so here are some funny things.
Okay, hold on, just so we know, who's the first one up front? It looks like your mother.
Well, that's Mark. We always made a joke, like Mark looked like he came from different parents.
Yeah.
Why am I hold on, let me just tap something here because my screen is okay. There we go. Now,
who's the kid with the hobo hat on?
That's Dan. He's the one closest in age to me. That's Lion Advocacy on Twitter.
Right.
Behind, hidden there is my sister, Jessica.
Right. Well,
and then
Jessica, how old is Jessica here?
She's if I'm 2, she's gonna be like 6 or 6. There's an 8.5-year difference between the monkey and the oldest kid, the kid in the front. The skinny.
No, who's the last one? Because that one looks like Ethan a little bit.
That's Adam. He's he looks he looks different. He looks, nobody ever changes, but that's Adam. He's also a lawyer. Dan's
he looks
a lawyer.
like that today. He's a litigator.
No. He does tax law. So he chose the not the fake law, but
what are you? They're building a house around you here.
This is up at my parents. I think this is up at my parents' cottage in Saint Agathe area. And this was the sandbox growing up. Like growing up.
Oh, this is actually constructed as a sandbox.
Yeah, this is like my when my dad wasn't working. Occasionally he would, we would do things like this. Like these were the projects. If I don't know the backdrop about this particular sandbox, but this is how my dad did things. Much like how I do things, not half-assed. Just the time expands to fit the time it takes to complete the task. Sorry, hold on 1 second. The time it takes to accomplish a task expands to fit the time you have to accomplish that task. My dad.
I don't know what that means, but what are you all doing in this sand here? What are you supposed to be doing?
They were playing in the sand. There's water to the left.
You're forced to stay in there. I mean,
no, this was just for the picture. Hey, we're getting along.
You're posing for a picture. So
yeah, this was up at the cottage. We used to spend. I say never. We took like 4 or 5 family vacations in the formal vacation sense. Every weekend we'd go up to my parents' cottage. My parents would take
every
us up
single weekend. You'd leave
basically every single weekend. It was the maddest 4 o'clock.
How far was the cottage?
An hour and a half. Let's say an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh, that's pretty far. That's pretty far.
If there's no traffic, it would be an hour and a half. And we would go all 7 of us in a car. We used to have a Suburban that had, back before there were safety regulations, it had a table in the back and row seats. And so we would, but every weekend my parents would pack
the big
up,
Chevy Suburban, the big one.
Big Chevy Suburban had a screw-in table that screwed into like a little.
Had a table in the back.
Yeah, and so we would sit in the back, play cards and whatever. But no, it was amazing because we never took family trips, and I sort of understand why with 5 kids it's not feasible. So we'd go up to the.
Oh,
cottage.
you had the cottage also. So I mean, where are you supposed to go? I mean, that's a great getaway.
We would go Friday afternoon if my dad got out of work early, and the mad rush would be: is he going to be late? And are we leaving at 7 o'clock, or is he going to be able to get out in time? And we leave at 4. Pack up the car. The best was in winter. We would drive up to the cottage, sing. The nerdy things we did in the car before any form of technology. We would sing these songs cannons, and I remember one was called "No Pas Pachin Pachem Pachem No." So I don't even remember what the words were, but we would sing, play word games, Ghost, and the whole family would go up to the cottage for the weekend, and that would be it. And we come back.
Did you have a TV, or was it completely rural?
No. It was I say like nice. It was it had technology. It had
because we used to go to the Catskills, and it was just basically just electricity.
Well, no, this had electricity. It had a dry sauna, which was always fun.
Wow.
Right on the water. It was like my.
Would you describe your upbringing as like upper middle class?
Yeah, it's upper. I couldn't
I mean,
describe it.
based on people in Montreal. I mean,
No, it's say we were, I'd say upper middle, I guess, by definition, because we lived
Yeah.
in Westmount, but not upper Westmount, which is where the multimillionaires lived. We
Right.
lived like mid Westmount. I mean, my dad, he made a great living as a lawyer and other investments, but 5 freaking kids, and he put us through private schools, and as much money as he made.
Did you go to private elementary school?
I went to private elementary school. Yeah, we went to Hebrew elementary school up until grade 6.
Wait. So it was Hebrew school and elementary school? Because I used to go to Hebrew school after regular school.
No, it was Jewish school. It was Solomon.
And this is what turned out after all that?
I did that.
Didn't they
then
drill
I went,
something into your head there? I mean, what kind of school is this?
They drilled enough. I remember some Hebrew. I can still, if I can pick it up quickly, but
okay.
Hebrew elementary school, and then I went to העברית שלי יותר טוב כזה. I don't know. That's close enough.
Look, we're going to have to practice something just to get around. I mean,
well, I where I am in Florida, there's a lot of Jews and a lot of Israelis. So
you don't have to whisper. I've lived there. I know. I lived among them. I know where you are.
I think per capita, I think there's more Jews here than there are in New York City.
My parents lived there for 50 years, for Christ's sakes. Okay, so all of you were bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah?
Oh yeah, all of us bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah. I had my bar mitzvah in Israel. You're probably going to.
Oh my God! Just like my 2 brothers at the wall, or
yeah, at the wall, and it was okay. So when I say we took a few family trips, that was one of them. So we took a family trip, all 5 of us, my aunt, my nieces, my nephews, cousins, I guess, my dad's nieces, nephews. We went to Israel. We went to the border of Lebanon, where we got to the flag of the border of Lebanon. We went to Egypt. This is when I'm 13. I just had my bar mitzvah, and then I nearly get kidnapped. But I'm not joking. By dudes on a camel at the pyramid. And so I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be.
No. Tell us what happened. Mean. What happened?
We go to. This is another funny thing. We go on. We take a boat down the Nile. The most amazing thing you could ever imagine. Down the Nile, we go to Luxor, Aswan, the pyramids. I wish I know. It's weird. Like I know I have the memories, but the memories sort of feel more recited memorization than actual lived experience. But I remember this. Then we go to the pyramids, and at the pyramids, I'm a kid who talks to everybody and talking to these guys. And there's a guy.
You're like, gregarious. You're
gregarious. Yeah, and my dad's like, don't talk to anybody. My grandmother's sitting there with her wallet in her hands, like she's like, I don't want anything. Well, she's got money, and everyone's.
Wait, you dragged your grandmother on this trip? My
grandmother.
Too?
Yeah, so
was your grandfather dead, or
my grandfather was dead? My grandfather died when I was about.
He was killed by the Nazis, or how did he die?
No. He survived. Well, my granddad on my dad's side died at say 69 heart attack.
Yeah.
My granddad on my mom's side died when he was 55 from a heart attack, which is why I sort of I take care of my ticker, except for the stupid things that I might have done, but now I'm taking care of my ticker.
Well, tell us about one of the stupid things. You don't have to tell us all, but what was
the stupid thing about my ticker was the stupid jab. Forget that. I didn't know.
That right. Oh,
no, back in the day. Right. Robert, back in the day,
you grew up in a time when things were, going crazy up there, right? I mean, there was a lot of illicit activity. I'm assuming there was a lot of partying going on. What was the first album you ever bought?
I want to say it's either Bare Naked Ladies or Def Leppard. So it's one.
Oh, okay, weird. Okay. Def Leppard had the one-armed drummer.
Yeah, and the drummer from Def Leppard only had one arm. Never knew that until I heard. I think that was a song from Bloodhound Gang.
Yeah.
What
was the first concert you ever went to?
The first concert was Rolling Stones. My parents didn't want to go, so they sent us with their friends.
Wait. Your parents had tickets and they gave them to you?
No, my mother, in a way, is not much different than me. Like, didn't like noisy things and wear earplugs when you go. She didn't want to go. So they had tickets to the Rolling Stones. It was the Steel Wheels tour. Like
I saw the Steel Wheels tour.
I went with. I won't name them because they probably don't want me to name.
It must have been the same tour because I saw them at Shea Stadium in New York. And
was it 89, 88, 89, give or take?
Whenever the Steel Wheels tour was, I remember seeing
it was definitely that. And I remember a guy blowing marijuana smoke in my face saying, "We're going to get high tonight." And I had no idea what the hell he was talking about. Figured it out.
Did you get high? Did you feel a
contact? No, not at all.
No.
So Rolling Stones was the first concert. And then I think Smashing Pumpkins.
I mean, were you a Stones fan or you just took the tickets to...
Then, at 10 years old, no, I couldn't care less. But I did.
You're 10 years old? You're going to
Yeah, that's
What? Wait. Who accompanied you to this event?
my parents' family friends. I'm not sure that they're friends anymore because of politics, but
Right.
let me see. Steel Wheels tour. When was it? 1990, man, 89
Yeah,
to 90.
89, 90. Yeah,
That's
89,
wild.
90. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was the first one ever. That was before I was into those things. And then when I started going to those concerts.
Well, tell us your first rock concert in the chat and in the comment section. We're just curious.
Yeah, this is this is another thing that's wild. It's like I never went to hockey games, never went to I went to a few like 3 rock concerts. But so hold on. Where were we at? We were at
You went to see the Stones. You got your parents' tickets.
Yeah,
You're 10 years old. You're somehow you get to the concert. Is it in Montreal, I presume?
it was in Montreal. Yeah, no, it wasn't a more momentous memory than that. It was just I remember
That's a big show that they had. That was a big stage. That was a big pyrotechnic show.
Yeah, the only thing I remember is the dude blowing smoke in my face saying we're going to get high tonight, and I had no idea what the hell he was talking about.
Then Slash and what's his name open with Guns N' Roses, the duo doing "Salt to the Earth."
I'm not going to remember that.
I'm going to say that those two, the two heads of Guns N' Roses, open with "Salt to the Earth" acoustically. Anybody wants to check me on that, knock yourself out.
I'll go to YouTube and see if there's a.
Yeah.
No, they would not have. Nobody would have recorded that concert unless it was just But no, so that was it. Sorry. Growing up, when did I was a pain in the ass in elementary school, like certifiably get in trouble with teachers and not do particularly well in school.
Was it an attention span disorder you had, or what?
Well, who knows? I mean, I know that today
you weren't medicated for this, were you?
I never took mental medication. Other than experimentation with stuff. I never took that. Despite at one point when I suffered from migraines, a doctor wanted to give me like a low dose antidepressant, and I was like, I'm not even taking that for migraines.
Migraines. The only thing that works is Vicodin.
I never done Vicodin either.
Okay, well, there's still a chance.
No, so it's a funny thing. Like I look back.
Okay, so wait a second. Did you do drugs at the Stones? You were only 10. You didn't.
No, definitely not. That was.
So when was the first time? When you were 12? I mean, when did you start to dabble?
13, I think.
And what happened? Well, you smoke weed or something, right?
It was Moroccan hash. I remember this experience. I remember because on the one hand,
was it soft, putty kind of hash, or like shale? Was it like shale, or?
As far as I remember, it was just a little. It was a little thing about the size of a marble.
Did it have white specks in it?
Oh God, I don't remember that. All that I remember is what happened afterwards is that it was the most terrifying experience ever.
Did you go blind?
No, no, but
because I've gone blind from smoking Moroccan hash. I lost the sight for about an hour. I mean,
what happened is, this was the first time I'd ever done this, seen this, and I was with these other kids who were into bad stuff. And
were they older kids? Were you the youngest?
No, but they were 13 and they were more troublesome or troubled. Right. And they had this water bong, and I just remember we were sitting there, doing this and inhaling, and nothing was happening. And there's
it's tough with a bong with hash. It could be
nothing happened for 15 minutes, and then after 15 minutes, it literally felt like I got slapped in the face, like physically, psychologically, and then I was dysfunctional, and then I was lying down. It was in.
You mean dysfunctional? You mean like you shit your pants or
no,
urinated?
Like couldn't communicate.
Verbally, you lost the verbal communication.
But no, I mean, I was sitting there. You could, but it was like it's a weird thing. Like the first experience, your brain stops functioning in a manner that you control, and and
so you enjoyed it immensely. You're saying
no, it was terrible. And then
did you get paranoid also? Did
I get paranoid? So we're in somebody's apartment who lived in an old church, and so I lie down on the couch because I it's like also things are going like tracking. I don't know if they call it that, and I lie down on the couch. And I'm having trouble breathing, and then it feels like someone put a saran wrap over my face and started pouring water on it.
Oh my God! So you're being waterboarded mentally.
This is, I remember this, and this is how I've always described it. And I'm looking up at the stained glass window that the person had in their apartment, and I swear to you, I mean, like I'm seeing someone like decapitating someone, and then it was just, and then I'm thinking like, when is this going to end? When is this going to end? This is never going to be over. And it felt like
it was only 2 minutes went past.
However long it wasn't an eternity, but it felt like an eternity. And then on the way home, we're taking a cab home, and then I have to tell the guy to pull the cab over, and then I run out and vomit. And And then, and then that started a 2 or 3 year episode of experimentation.
Of what though? Of just hash?
No, just
hash was big in my. I remember you could get hash in Canada because weed was difficult to get up there. But I remember hash. There seemed to have been a conveyor belt, like from Amsterdam or somewhere into Toronto and Montreal of hashish.
I couldn't tell you.
Did you see weed or hash more often?
No, weed and weed only after that first experience. Maybe every now and again hash, but what about? Oh, that's right. We'll get back to the kidnapping event in a second. So that was and then it was like the worst experience ever. Nauseous, vomited, and then the next day it's like, hey, let's try that again. And then then there was a 2 or 3 year period of this at a very young age, and then. It was fun until it was no longer fun when you have incidents.
You're saying it was fun, then fun with problems, then just problems.
Well, no, what it was fun until there was an incident with another person. I don't want to give any details that would allow identification, but someone had an episode, like an actual psychotic episode.
Right.
And
you tell people this, nobody believes you. I mean,
because then there might have been other drugs involved as well, but.
They might have been underlying psychiatric conditions too.
Well, sure, yes, and then as I was, visiting the friend where they were, I became friends with other girls, 2 other girls who were institutionalized for manic bipolar. They're 15, 16 years old, and so after those experiences, the few times I tried, I did it afterwards was just a 3-hour episode of I'm never going to be normal again. I'm going to be in an institution for the rest of my life. And
did your parents ever see you really high? I mean, did they say anything?
I guess there's no point. There is no point not going. My dad took me to a drug clinic because they
weird. Okay, good move.
But not it was so. But it was. I say it was a bad move because it taught me the wrong. I say it illustrated the exact wrong lesson. So.
So he didn't take you right out of the gate. This is after a couple of years he took you to the drug clinic.
It was after, at first they don't know. Then your parents find out. I always had an open relationship with my mother, not because I didn't love my dad. It's just like, my mom was the good cop. My dad was the bad cop. And and they knew. It's like, crap. I don't know that they ever knew at any point when I was under the influence while I was actually in their presence. But
I mean, did your grades suffer at all? Did they get notes from the teacher saying David is sleeping in class again?
Well, it never caused me to sleep, and it never caused me to chill out or mellow. So no, but my grades were never good in the first place. So
there was no
noticeable decline. There was no like
you were already declined.
It was like I was a 60s student, so like 60s.
Wait. What did they ever say anything about your report card? Like you'd come home and it would say 62, 61, 63. Did the father ever say, "What the hell are we paying these Hebrew schools?"
Only when I got expelled from my first school.
Okay, so you're in this first school, and they say you can't stay here anymore. Why did they kick you out? Why?
So I mean, this grades.
These people are all dead. You could talk about them. Half of them are dead. Now.
I'm trying to think. No, some of them became lawyers. No, so I mean, in grades. So elementary school, Hebrew school, then. Despite anyone's desires,
what was the final grade level of the Hebrew school? 6th grade?
Yeah, grade 6. And so in Canada, then you go into high school at grade 7.
There's no junior high school? There's nothing in the middle?
No. It goes elementary, then high school, and it's grade 7 to 11.
Right, okay.
And so I went to a Jewish high school, which was known for being for bratty, spoiled, misbehaved kids called Bialik. And it's funny, like it doesn't matter. Everybody knows this already. And in Bialik, I was a big pain. I was just a terrible troublemaking student. Like I would sell.
Well, what would you do? I mean, you would take the flag and set it on fire. I mean,
I would set off firecrackers in the bathroom. All
right, that's the kind of kid you were. I mean, let's admit it. Get it out.
But stupid things. And once
did you put an ash can in the toilet?
No, I did. I used to go to the Army surplus on a street called Queen Mary, buy a bunch of Army surplus, and then resell it to kids at school. And so I had a whole menu of the stuff that I would go and get. None of it was illegal.
So you weren't a drug dealer. You were a firecracker.
I was an arms dealer.
You're an arms dealer. You were like an arms merchant.
It was like the leftover stuff from Army surplus. And I was a Duddy. They called me Duddy Kravitz, but I never understood the reference. And I still don't to this day because I've never seen or read Duddy Kravitz. But I would go to the Army.
The apprenticeship of Duddy Kravitz.
No, I've never seen it. So I don't
Richard
get
Dreyfuss. Come on.
Well, so I would go to the Army surplus, get whatever they sell at the Army surplus, and then resell it at a profit to some kids at school. And I made a menu of the stuff that I would sell. And then one kid, idiot, who I will not mention his name, but I remember to this day, did something stupid.
Jeffrey Stern.
No, but it's pretty much as distinctive as that. He did something stupid with something that he bought from me from the Army surplus, and then I get into trouble for it.
Because you were the arms dealer.
Yeah, I was the arms dealer. And so then, a number of things culminated, the firecrackers in the bathroom. The last straw was literally when a bus of kids from a high school that I think no longer exists, but it was the worst high school in Montreal, called Wager. And so anybody from Montreal knows Wager, and I'm fairly certain it closed down. But like troubled kids of troubled kids. And the bus from the Wager, there was an after-school bus, would go by the street that we would walk up to get from our high school to the bus stop. And it was a diverse high school, and as the bus would go
what do you
by,
mean by diverse?
It was not Jewish. So as the bus of Wager kids would go by, they would call us all sorts of names and whatever. And I'm not complaining as a victim, just context. Yeah. One day they go by and they say, "Yeah, you stupid Jews," and then someone threw a raw egg at me. And I'm not claiming victimhood. I'm just saying. I remember at the time I got so enraged. Like I said, this kid took a raw egg to school, waited all day with this raw egg, and then on the way home, specifically do that. So I run up to the bus as it's at a stop sign. I jump on the bus and grab onto the windows, because it's back in the day when you had those old school buses and you push the little thing in and slide the window down.
Wait. You're on the outside of the bus, and the bus
I'm
is
on
leaving?
I'm on the sidewalk side. So it's going down the road, and then it stops at a stop sign. I'm on the sidewalk. And they threw the thing and say, "Dirty Jew," whatever, and throw the raw egg. I'm like, holy fuck, that's it.
Why do all of us have that same story? Why do we all
I'm sure that black kids have the same story of someone throwing something and saying dirty whatever. So everybody's got it, because kids are idiots, and that's what kids do. But at that moment, it pissed me off, and I ran up and jumped on the bus and hung from the window. And then the bus starts going because the bus driver doesn't see it. And I'm reaching through the window, grabbing the kid that did it and pulling his backpack out the window. And this kid's screaming.
The guy with the egg is on the bus throwing the egg through the window of the bus?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was throwing an egg at the bus.
No. That's the Wager bus. Am I telling the story badly?
No. They're the evil. It's a busload of criminals.
It's a busload of Vivas from a different family.
Right.
So they throw it out the window, and everybody remembers these windows. They were like a little piece of plastic. You push it in on both sides and slide it down, and then it locked in. And so I then jump up, hanging from the window. The bus starts moving because it doesn't see me, and I'm reaching out, pulling this kid's backpack out through the window. The kid's crying. The bus takes, I remember it clear as day. The bus takes a turn, and you're like speed, like I'm hanging off the window, and then it finally sees me. I get off the bus and I run away, but a teacher saw it. They call me into the office the next day, and they say, "You can write your exams, but don't come back next year." And that's it.
Wow.
And then my dad,
you're a regular juvenile delinquent.
No, and then they list off all of these things to my dad, and they say, and my dad's, I remember him, he's like, by the way, enraged. I mean, it's like I say this, and the stuff that my kid does now irritates me, but we'll see how it materializes.
Well, Ethan's not jumping on the side of a bus.
No, not yet. But holy cow, I got to make sure that they don't see this stream
ever.
Then they tell my dad everything that they've accumulated on their list of my bad behavior, and he's like,
"Wait, you're saying that they kept the secret file on you?"
Well, he says, like, "Why didn't anyone tell me any of this before now?" Because it was like, "You did this. What was there? Something else. It doesn't even actually matter. There's something." And they said, "Write your exams. Come in to write your exams. Don't come back next year." Fine. Wow. Then I went to a school called LCC, Lower Canada College, and people are going to know this one.
Is this for people who just can't get
by? No, this is now a private Protestant. You have a headmaster school. So,
oh my God,
from the Jewish private school to the Protestant disciplinary private school, where they, my brothers used to go there, and they used to get,
Wait, let me ask you something. Were your brothers' problems too?
No, the oldest wasn't. The second oldest was an angel.
I mean, where did you get this from? Usually it goes in a lineage.
It was.
Were you just a bad seed?
I was just I don't know if it's.
No, usually it's one brother beats the shit out of the other one, who beats the shit out of the next one.
No, it wasn't. Mark was an angel. They all have their issues, but Mark was an angel. Adam was an angel. My sister was an angel. She had her issues, but everybody's got their idiosyncrasies. Right. Dan and I were just pains in the asses. Whether or not there's no complaint and there's no woe is me. My dad wasn't around. My dad worked a lot. And whether or not, we were just keeping ourselves entertained, we kept ourselves entertained, setting off fireworks off the roof of our house and doing stuff.
So
So
it's too many kids, not enough parents.
it's too many kids. And maybe
Did you have a nanny, like a big black nanny?
we had a Jamaican nanny for a while.
I knew you did. Yeah,
Her
boss,
name-
I'm just guessing.
No,
There
no,
had to
we-
be a
because
big giant nanny.
we had there was Madge May, and these are some of my earliest memories as well. Was falling asleep on her big breast. I mean, I remember it, and I remember the smell of her skin because back in the day it was Vaseline intensive care. It had that bottle, little spritz thing on the top, and her skin smelled magnificent. It was so soft, and I remember my mother didn't have.
Did she speak with like a Jamaican patois?
Yes,
or did she?
yes, she did.
Yeah.
And so, some of the
Fascinating.
we had. I remember it. I remember falling asleep on her chest, on her breast, and I'm not. She wasn't naked, but just had big boobs, and my mother didn't.
That was your first sexual turn on? Was her?
I know there was nothing. It was just the smell of the Vaseline on her skin. I remember it.
You keep saying that, but I'm not really.
No, I don't remember anything sexual about it whatsoever at the time. Like nothing. But then we had nannies growing up because my mom, there were 5 of us, and it's with 3 kids, and we had help twice a week. But I could use a nanny, but then the flip side is I don't want a nanny. I'd rather.
Who made the dinner? Did this nanny make the dinner?
No, my mother used to cook it. No,
what did she make?
What did she make? Breaded chicken. It was the best thing she ever made. I still make it to this day.
Right.
And she did fun things.
Did she make a meatloaf at all? Did she make pork chops? I mean, did you keep a kosher? It wasn't a kosher home.
It was kosher in that no ham and no shrimp, but the meat wasn't kosher, and we would have McDonald's on Monday nights.
Did you ever have what they call a fried bologna sandwich?
I'm sure we did because there was a place called Cosmos in Montreal that
everybody talks about Cosmos. That's why I'm mentioning it.
Oh no, it's amazing. They had the creation. It was
I've been there, so
it's delicious. No, but my mother made a good shepherd's pie, which I never liked because I always preferred like just uncut meat. Breaded chicken. She would do pineapple upside down cake for dessert. She did salmon. She had great salmon. My kids still love my mother's salmon, but it was. So we had nannies growing up, and then we had they tend to be also Jamaican or Filipino up in Canada. Filipino now because of some laws became the predominant, and so we had some at some point live in and at other points not, as far as I remember. And they're still part of our family. All of them, like we still keep in touch with them.
They don't live.
Maybe I met Mamie, and the funny thing is, the older you get, the less of the differential of age between me now and Mamie.
Do they have kids? Two of
them did, or 2 of them do, and the others.
How big was this house that you lived in? You have like 22 bedrooms or something? Where did all these people sleep?
It was a big house. It was a big house. My parents got
4 bedrooms.
No, people are gonna. I think we live in we lived in a beautiful place. It had everybody had
7 bedrooms.
7 bedroom.
Okay, that's abnormal.
No, it had a basement, and it was a big house. But my parents got it in the late 70s during the first referendum crisis, when all the Anglophones were fleeing the province and leaving, and there was an absolute tank in market value in the market.
This is because of the QLF and the bombings and
I don't know if it was FLQ. Was it that?
FLQ was it a QLF?
I'll double check the year, but it was the first referendum.
Well, 70 was a big year for them. 71 and 72.
This was more towards the late 70s when they held their first referendum. Everybody was leaving because of the language laws and the risk. So my dad stayed, got the property at discount is not even the word. Like, I don't know what ratio of his annual salary it was, but I don't even think it was like 10-1 at the time, which is unheard of, today. But it took advantage of a bad market, and they've lived there ever since. And it's
they're still there now, or
the house that I grew up in is still the house that they live in.
Can you go back to your old bedroom and see your posters on the wall and stuff?
No, not anymore, because there was a big fire, and then they had to redo the entire house. So the layout changed. No, but when I was a kid, I had the room above the awning at the front door, so when it rained, I would hear the raindrops on the.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, and I had a bed frame that I used to stick all these wacky card stickers on. I don't know if you remember wacky cards.
Yeah, there was also the Garbage Pail Kids.
Well,
who is this you're talking to here? Who is that?
Okay, so that is Winston. That's the original Winston, the dog that I had through my troubled years.
What's he wearing there? Has he got an outfit on?
It's my shirt. I put my shirt on.
Oh,
It was
I
the
see
shirt
what
that I was
you're
wearing. And I'm wearing yellow bell bottoms that my dad wore when he got married. Like these are my dad's.
Wait. Your dad wore bell. I'm trying to understand the time frame of your parents. Were they hippies?
They were not hippies. My dad, to this day, asserts and affirms that he never smoked marijuana. That my mother did it once.
How old was he in 1969?
They got
Your
married in
dad.
69. So 28-ish.
Oh, that's a little old. That's a little old.
Born in 45, I think. 42 or 40.
Oh, so they're the boomers on the cusp there. Post War.
My dad's 82 now, so he's
right. So he's a
these were
boomer.
Yeah, well, let me see. The necklace was a beautiful necklace that I had that was carved out of. This I think was during the Troubled period when I used to go to what's called the Tam Tams in Montreal. And
what is that? A Jewfro you got on your head? What is that?
That is the Jewest of Jewfros that you'd ever seen.
Right.
But this is Winston when he was a puppy. So yeah, he died when I was in law school with Marion. But that dog was the dog that we had during my Troubled period. What kind
of dog is that?
It's a bull mastiff. He's a brindle bull.
I got you.
He was just beautiful. And I had him during my reconciliation with my father. During my
wait, was this like a legal reconciliation or
no? It was my dad and I did
because sometimes your dad. I don't know if your dad did this, but did he like treat you in a legal manner when things got harsh and things got bad? Did he like fall back on his legalese or legal style or legal abilities to lecture you or treat you like a member of the court?
No, well, every Friday night dinner was like being in a courtroom. Like it was. There were 5 people arguing, and there was no mercy in argument. There was no let a kid entertain stupid ideas. It was, and it was normal to me. It still is normal to me, which is why some people are not used to what they call a level of aggression coming from arguments with me. It was an ordinary Friday night. We used to do it every night, but then we would invite friends over every now and again for Friday night dinners. They would see it, and they would think we all hated each other. Because and they couldn't understand how we could argue like that over dinner and then go back to being a loving family right after dinner.
Right.
So
now, what were they? Liberals? They were lefties, liberals, Kennedy Democrats. Like, how would you describe their politics at that time? I mean,
I think that, I don't even know if they were definitely liberals, Canadian liberals. Like
this is like 85 you're talking about, or in there, 81.
No, but no. I'm born in 79, so this would
So this is not 89, 90.
I'm trying to think. I don't know how my parents. I think they were liberal. I think I don't. But honest to goodness, I don't know if they ever voted conservative growing up. But my dad was warning us about China since we were
what?
Yeah, my dad was ahead of the curve on China.
Wow.
Wrong.
Wow.
He was also predicting that rap and hip hop was going to be dead by the year 2000.
Well, he was wrong about that, but he was right about China.
Yeah, but I mean,
did you go to Chinese restaurants up there on Sunday night? Is that a thing?
We used to go to Chinese restaurants. We used to go to a place called Taiken Lung, and I used to get the periwinkles, and I used to sit there and pick up the periwinkles with a toothpick, and you'd eat it comes out like a booger. It looked and tasted like a booger, salty, and I used to keep the shells. But no, we used to go out for dinner to that. We had a couple of favorite places. Curly Joe's went out of business.
Curly Joe's, really sad.
And Moishes. When Moishes was on Saint Laurent.
Moishes, what was it? Kosher Chinese or something?
No, that was just good steak, and it was
right. Did they have a Chinese restaurant you go to there?
No, other than Taiken Lung, that was the only Chinese. That was the Chinese.
Okay, all right.
What you want to say? Hi. I get it. Okay, close. No, you got to get out of here. We're live doing an interview. You can
Ethan, get out of here. We're doing something.
He says, get out of here. He can't hear. He says, get out. How did Viva? Oh, the camel. Okay, so bring it back to Egypt now. Okay,
right.
So
you were at the pyramids.
So pain in the ass in elementary school. Got kicked out of Bialik in grade 7. I got kicked out of LCC in grade 9, but they were nice. They said, we'll help you get into the next school. Just don't come back. And then I went to St. George's, where I sort of stabilized. It was a creative arts school. Right. And then I got into CEGEP, and that's where I stopped doing anything bad and really focused. I mean, it didn't focus on studies. I was just able to study stuff that I loved, film, philosophy, and creativity got rewarded in CEGEP. It's right before university.
What is it, like an art school or something?
It was a creative arts intermediate. But now, back to Egypt. So we go to Egypt and talk about the trouble-making kid. So these guys, I start to, looking at, you make eye contact. They think they're going to get business. Right. And so this guy picks me up and puts me on the camel. And then my dad comes and he's like, no, get my kid off the camel. And the guy starts walking around and asking for money. Yeah. And then then these other guys take my dad's hat and they start playing like toss around with my dad's hat. And I remember my dad like trying to get the thing. And this guy on the camel starts like walking off with me. Then my mother starts freaking out. And so she gets the security guards. And then at some point, I remember
he's up on the camel. Are you on the camel?
I'm up on the camel. He put me up on the camel.
He got you up on the camel?
Yeah. Picked me up, put me on the camel. And in retrospect, no appreciation for absolutely how dangerous that was. Like,
yeah,
for me, it was fun.
There's no seatbelts on the camel. You're just up there.
In a stride, I could have been
between two humps?
They don't have the two humps. They don't have the two humps like a.
It's only one hump, right?
I think it was one hump. I can't remember the nature of the camel's back. I just
Your Honor, I have a camel expert who's willing to testify on behalf of my client about the humps or two humps.
They get me on this camel and they're prancing me around. My mom thinks they're taking me off to kidnap me. Then my dad gets the security guards involved, and these guys have big guns, and they come up and they say, put the guy down. They're pointing their guns. I mean, I'm not joking. This is my memory, and it may or may not be accurate, but I'm fairly certain it is. Because in retrospect, I think it was all part and parcel of a scheme between the cops and the guys to get money, and then they split it up. So they point their guns at the guy. They say, put the kid down. Then they're begging for money. They're begging. So my dad gave them money, and I'm certain in retrospect.
Was this like a ransom or?
It was, you know, like for the ride, for like the entertainment, not for ransom.
I see what you're saying.
We took them around in a circle and like give us money. And
how far did you go on the camel?
I don't remember that, but look, I didn't go too far because I was within eye shot. If I
right. So it was a short ride. They're trying to shake.
It was a short ride. It was to get
down
you
for
to
money.
Yeah. And so that was that experience. We were on the boat also at one point. And
wait, what happened to the drug clinic?
Oh, so then we'll get back to this. So now 13. Yeah. This is about that time.
Well, how old were you when you were in Egypt? Because that's a bar mitzvah.
That was 13. So
so this is the same year you're kidnapped by Egyptians, but you're also in a drug clinic in Montreal.
No, the drug clinic.
5.
My dad took me to this place. I think it would have been like a year or two later. I say maybe 15. And the place was called Nouveau Départ, which means new beginnings.
New beginnings.
And so,
welcome to New Beginnings.
It felt like something out of Total Recall, but you go in there and you'll know this. I mean, obviously, in much greater detail than me. I get in there. People could smoke indoors at the time. Everybody is chain smoking and drinking coffee. And you know, they take me in. I'm looking around. There are people who are clearly coked out of their minds and like on much more
in the drug facility inside the place.
They didn't look well. They looked unwell, and I'm not trying to put it. They looked unwell, and here I am, a rich, you know, ish Jew boy from Westbound coming in because I'm smoking weed, and my dad doesn't like it, and I'm like, I'm not. It's not like I'm in denial. I'm just not on the same realm as this. Like I'm never doing coke. We had a family friend who.
Is this why you keep asking me about drugs and everything?
No. I'm never doing coke. Like,
right. You've asked me a couple of times whether I think you're an addict.
No. That's in terms of like addictive personalities. I would.
You kept asking me if you have an addictive personality. I mean,
I'm fairly certain I do. But you know, my addictions might be or habits to other things. I'm certain that anybody would say that, you know, the fact that I enjoy a martini daily would say that's a problem. Like, okay, then the question is
a problem. But it's up to you.
The question is when that is my always like when does an exercise addiction become a problem? Like in my mind.
Well, to be honest with you, it's when you're trying to stop and it's making your life unmanageable and you can't stop. That's the textbook definition. If any of those three things or all those three things apply, then it's a real thing.
Yeah, well, but then the question is, what if you never want to stop?
Then it's not an addiction.
I've always not called addiction like if it causes problems, but that's when you know that there's a problem if it causes problems in your daily life. DUIs.
Well, you have to also want to stop, and you can't. That's the other aspect of the terminology.
You know, you can tell Viva's health regime has an addictive personality. No, that's like it's. I couldn't stop exercising ever. Period. Like I missed the day this week. And
even today, or.
No, today I went out, I jogged on the beach, and, you know, I did the regular active stuff. But I skipped
Were you on the wrestling team or something?
I wrestled, played football, rugby, and that was that.
What kind of football? Miniature football?
No, I was big once upon a time, like before everybody else.
I didn't know what happened to you.
So just to finish the Nouveau Départ. So my dad took me to this clinic, and I go in there and like, look, I appreciate that. My dad didn't want me smoking weed anymore, but like this is like I'm not on the realm of these other people in terms of what are clearly problems. But luckily, it worked its way out, and I didn't do anything irreparably harmful to my body. I do wonder if, like, smoking weed at the age of 13 to 15, if it messes up the wiring of your brain. But I really, not to be funny, I think the wiring of my brain, if it's messed up, it was messed up before, because like I remember thoughts and idiosyncrasies that I had as a kid that they're not normal. Like they're not normal. This was well before weed. Like I used to walk on the streets.
Were you like a chronic masturbator on top of that?
I don't think so. But, I mean,
were you a bedwetter? Were you a bedwetter?
I don't think I was a bed. I don't think I ever wet my bed. I had night terrors every now and again.
Right.
But like, no, like I don't know. Maybe it's normal. When I was a kid,
were you a cutter? You didn't cut yourself, did you?
Not a cutter, but I did burn. I used to.
Some people cut or burn. Girls usually cut. Men will burn themselves.
I burnt this scar right here. Let me see if I can get it.
With a cigarette, or
with a cigarette right there, because I like. I don't know if you can see it. It's very faint. I like the guys who had the scar on their shoulders from one of the vaccines. I forget which one it was. Like, but if you're born before 77, you'll notice
probably the polio vaccine.
Yeah, so I was like, I always liked that. So I said I'll make one on my own, and I burnt a cigarette in my arm to make it. It stuck. And then when I was a kid, and being spiritual, I cut a little Magen David out of a tin foil can, and tried to make a scar on my ankle. It's stupid things. Okay. Like, right. And then you look back, it's like, what the hell? There was no thought process to any of this. And I know that if my kid did it and I found out, it's like, what the hell are you doing? But like, who the hell am I to judge? I did the most tremendous.
When your dad took you to the rehab, did he expect you to stay there?
No. It was just
outpatient.
It was for like a consultation and talking about things. Right. I don't remember how many times I went. I just remember the first time, and I remember breaking.
Did he ever say, "What the fuck is wrong with you"?
Either he never said it, or he said it so many times I can't remember him having said it. No, but so they did a pee test at the place. And this I remember as well. And it was 2 days after the Pink Floyd concert in Montreal, which I think was 95 or 96. Right. And so, like how it turns milky if you have remnant of THC in it. Yeah. It was milk. It was the most hilarious thing. I was at this concert with a best friend who I won't mention his name, but at the Olympic Stadium.
Was Roger Waters there?
No, I don't. I didn't even like Pink Floyd. Like I didn't like Pink Floyd, but it was the thing you did if you were into the things. You put those patches of mushrooms on your bomber jacket, and then you're like, it's. There was a place called Poncho Villa in Old Montreal, and they sold incense, pipes, and all this stupid stuff. It's like, all right, so that's what you dress like. That's what you did if that's what you're into. But we went to Pink Floyd. That was the most insane experience ever, because it felt physically and I felt like I was in a spaceship for the entire concert.
What drugs were you on for the show?
Just the standard doobie. This was back in the day when you could smoke stuff, in the arena.
What did you do? You bought it in like a nickel bag and a little manila envelope on the corner?
And the guy who used to deal it to the neighborhood kids ended up becoming a reputable criminal lawyer. It's like,
weird. Okay, so the irony is to him. Yeah, well, Jay-Z or something. He became the Jay-Z of Montreal law.
In retrospect, like the most dysfunctional of us as kids turned out to be, I don't know if I'm a functional adult. I think I'm doing, pretty good. In terms of like stability, but like we turned out to have the attributes.
None of it mattered. None of it seemed to matter. I mean, you seem to be
but for the grace of God,
normal relationship. You have beautiful children. You have a nice house. I mean, your career is whatever you made out of it. But you were a litigator before that. I mean, did you pass the bar on the first time?
Yeah, with a 60, like on the nose. But the bar,
you had to have a 60 to pass the bar.
You have to have a 60 to pass the bar, and it didn't make a difference if it was a 60 or a 99. And
okay. No,
but like I say, like, I got out of it. It was by the grace of God and just by fortuitous happenstance. When I could pick a half dozen things.
What would they do on the Jewish holidays in your house? Speaking of the grace of God, did they celebrate Pesach? I mean, Rosh Hashanah. Did you go to temple? I mean, what was it like?
We celebrated. We did Friday night dinners pretty much every Friday. We did
candlelight Shabbos
candlelight.
Dinner? Yeah. My God, you're more Jewish than I am.
Yeah, and then we do the Passover Seder's every year. We did hold on, what's the, I don't know how to say this. We did Hanukkah, but we never got gifts because
you didn't get gifts, right?
No. I mean, I won't say never.
My family, yeah, no.
Well, in retrospect, you're not going to get 5 kids gifts for 7 nights.
That's hundreds of gifts. I mean, that's like 200 gifts. Would have broken the back of your father.
No, so we did that, but hold on. What was the question? It was about. Oh no, like Mark. I can think of like easily 6 incidents where the wind blows a different way and my life is irreparably altered.
Well, you
If
could have
not
gotten
mine.
arrested. You could have been in
Car,
a
I mean,
gulag.
I got into 3 car, never under the influence of car accidents, but like, it could have hurt myself or hurt someone else on any number of occasions. And it's like, it's sort of the luck of the draw. I can't tell you some of the stories, but like we used to.
No, you can't because of what reason? You signed a do not disclose, or
No, like we would just do the stupidest things on earth.
give me
like,
one stupid thing. You don't have to tell me
running
all of
around
them.
naked at like 3 a.m. And like,
Now we're getting somewhere.
and so,
Okay,
like,
you're running around naked.
but
What
the
are
thing
you,
is this.
streaking? Is this like a streaking challenge?
No, it was just we would sleep at my best friend's house and we
Right.
would stupid things. But the thing is, and this is where I look at my kids and I see, I would always be the one who was next level stupider than everybody else. So they would go out in their underwear. I'd have to go out totally naked.
Oh, it was like a one-upsmanship of stupidity.
It was just like we're a group of kids, and there's always going to be one who's the stupidest, and
Right.
or the most idiot. So we did these things where like, it's you if nothing bad happens to you outright, which is already a thing, to be fortunate about, and then then whatever one time we're out at 3 a.m. and policemen come up to us. And then they were looking for someone else.
Someone else,
and
yeah.
As they go to look for someone else, I was like, okay, guys, run. And then and we all ran, and we ran back, and we had a good story for the rest.
Wait. When the cop was interviewing, were you naked or?
We were all in our underwear, like in our underwear.
A cop comes up to you looking for someone else, and there's 5 boys in their underwear.
4 boys in our underwear.
4 boys in their underwear,
At
and
3
you
in the
have
morning.
nothing. You have nothing.
No. Quite clearly, we have nothing. We're all in our underwear. And
No. But I'm saying, okay, so it's 4 boys in their underwear, and a cop is looking for someone else, and just ignores the fact that you guys are in your underwear, and then you make a break for it.
Yeah, no. He says, did you see? I remember this is clear as day as well. Flashlight on all of us. Like,
Yeah.
look at us. It's like, did you guys see someone coming through here with a big keychain? I'm like, nope. And then they say, wait here. And then they say, wait here. And they go around this. It's a clock tower. They go around to the dog run, and I see them looking through the dog run with their flashlight. And I was like, all right, guys, run. And then so we all we darted and got back to our friend's house and woke up the next morning with grass on our feet and in our beds. And it was like, had a hilarious story. But
wait, so when you started running, he was on the other side of the clock tower?
No, he was down a level. So
so did he say wait here till I get
he
back?
Said wait here, and I don't know what they were
naked pieces of shit, or
I don't know what they were what they would have done. Like, we weren't doing anything illegal. We were just it was just a weird set of circumstances.
What was the temperature that night?
It was midsummer. It was just beautiful.
Oh,
this is what we used to do. Like, we used to go to one kid's house in particular and misbehave at night.
Right.
So like, and that wasn't one of the life or death ones. Like the life or death ones, I when I flipped a car when I was 16, got into another accident. On a road, and it ended up on the roof, and we unblocked. And I remember calling my dad, and he's like, my brother calls my dad, and he says, "Is everyone okay?" And he says, "Yeah." He's like, "Fine, we'll deal with the rest later." The car was totaled. It was the Suburban, not the one with
that big giant. You flipped that huge Suburban,
like rolled it repeated. I'm on a dirt road.
Catch a ledge on a dirt road.
I'm with my best friend at the time, and I'm like, it's a rear wheel drive Suburban, and I'm showing how you fishtail. And it was, you could accelerate fast and on a dirt road. It would, and then the fishtail kept getting bigger and bigger. And then I panic and then slam on the gas instead of the brakes. And then it goes totally parallel to the road, hits a big rock that's on the side of the road, and like 5 or 6 times, but it ends on the roof. So I'm
5 or 6 times.
Yeah,
and you're hanging upside down like vampire bats.
It comes to a stop, and it's upside down. We have our seatbelts on. Where I say,
how do you get out of there?
Unbuckle, fall down on my head, and then crawl out through the window because the doors didn't open. Oh my
God, Viva, you were a maniac.
No, and then the cops come. We're on a country road. There's nobody there. Although the people who lived in the neighborhood, they started coming out because they heard the crash. Right. Can you imagine the car's on its roof on a dirt road in the middle of St. Agath. Nobody else is on the road. There's no explanation for this that's good. I say, first of all, luckily there was no drugs and there was no alcohol involved, just stupidity of a 16-year-old boy. And then I remember they're coming and they hitch up the car, pull it back onto its wheels and get it on the whatever the truck and take it off. I think, like, if anybody else was on the road at that point, I could have killed someone being a stupid idiot. I could have killed my friend.
You knew to put your seatbelt on it.
Yeah, well, and I say that also, when I was in camp as a kid, we had a mutual friend who rolled their car, went through the sunroof and the car landed on them and they didn't make it.
Did you go away to summer camp somewhere, to
Summer camp, pretty much
some
every
communist youth camp somewhere in the hills?
it was a Jewish camp. It's called YCC.
Yeah.
My parents would send me off for 2 months. My parents would send me to camp for 2 months in the summer. And
Right.
like they did it a few times. And
How many kids were at the camp?
It was a big camp, like
Yeah.
I'd say a couple hundred, like a big camp. They have their units. And
Did you have a knife?
no, not there. When I went to the camp as a camper, oh God, Mark, this one I can tell. Okay, for example, by the way, I didn't get kicked out of camp for this. Okay, I think the people on my chat know about this one. This is what an asshole I was as a kid. It was YCC. We sleep in tents. They're like these, more semi-structured tents, 4 people per tent. But friends, I keep in touch. Okay, I hate coconuts. I hate coconut. I hate the smell.
Everybody knows that. Yeah, everybody knows you hate coconuts.
So the kitchen staff, because they thought I was picking on this kid, they raid us at night and they come into our tent and they pour coconut shampoo on me. And we're
the staff of the
staff of the kitchen, who are 16 and 17 at the time.
Right.
So we're all a bunch of kids, idiots.
Yeah.
They raid me, and I remember the guy's face. I remember his name and his face to this day. I hear him laughing as he runs off, and I say, I go crazy. Like I say, that's it. I go to the kitchen like 2 or 3 in the morning. After they poured coconut shampoo on me, I wake up my tent mates and I'm like, it's coconut. It wasn't a psychotic break. I'm just exaggerating, but I went to the kitchen. I snuck into the kitchen. I emptied out 600 gallons of bug juice, just opened the tap and let it spill all over the floor.
What is bug juice?
Like that disgusting sugar water, like Tang, but it tastes
right. Yeah.
So I empty out I just open up the valve and dump the bug juice. I go to all the spices and dump them on the ground. We had quick and it was the powder and I pour it all on the ground. I go sneak into the art room and take the black and white paint and pour it all over the floors. And then on the way back to my tent, I run into another kid who was, if one can believe it, more of a troublemaker than me.
What kind of a camp is this? This is what's going on in this camp?
The kid ended up getting kicked out because that's Havoc. I meet this guy, John, on the way back. Hey, John, what's up? Hey, what are you doing? I'm just doing it. Oh. I go back to my tent. Wake up. Cops are at the camp. Everybody's eating in their units.
A lot of cops in your life, bro. There's a lot of cops.
Well, this is all before I stabilized and,
so you got it out of your system.
I got it out of my system. But so the cops come. They got this other kid, the John guy, because he had literally stepped in the paint and his footprint was there. There
was a Bruno Mali shoe. They were able to match up the shoe.
Well, no, even worse. This kid took credit for it because he was such a badass. He took credit for the bad things he didn't do. He gets expelled that very day. I get approached by my counselors and they say, look, Dave, we know that you did something. Just admit to doing something. I said, okay, fine. I dumped the paint on the ground.
So you pled to a lower.
Yeah, and I spent the day cleaning off the paint and that was it. But like this is the type of kid. In retrospect, it's crazy in retrospect. But this is and then I didn't get kicked out of camp. He got kicked out of camp. I think they called my parents.
How many institutions overall do you believe you were kicked out of?
Well, I mean, Bialik LCC, graduated from St. George's, and then that's pretty much it. I was never, where did you go to school? McGill or something? Where did you go to? Yeah, so CEGEP was this place called Dawson College where I was on the dean's list, so I had an average.
So all of a sudden you have like a resurrection.
But little, just like it was great. Well, no, grade 10 and 11. Stable.
Wait, what happened to your virginity? You skipped over that. This is before Marion, right? She wasn't the first.
I'm very, very low on the number count, on the body count, as we say, like less than one hand.
Right. But how old were you? Were you like 15, 18, 22?
It's gross, but it doesn't matter. We're not
who cares?
No. This sex is always the weirdest thing, but obviously younger than I think most people should have been. But it's my wife and one or two others, and nobody since my wife. So it's like
no. I understand that. I'm just saying, what was the first time like? Not with your wife. I mean, whoever it was.
I know it's the same for everybody. I mean, it's like I imagine it's over before anybody even knows what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
But it's a weird thing also. Like when you're a kid, it's like there's no logical rational thought. It's like you want to do this thing because you see it in the movies and you think whatever. and it's like just it's a what's the word, like a brainless automaton pursuit of boobies and whatever. I don't know if this is a normal thing for all boys. I imagine it is. I know of every boy that it's just
Well,
one
did
track
you look
mind.
at like Wee magazine up there? What kind of porno mags did you have up there?
Oh, I mean,
Playboy, Penthouse,
no, it was my recollection was
Wee.
Hustler. It was
Hustler
paperback.
was very popular up
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
and then you'd have to go and get someone to either get it or like we got fake IDs also. I mean, this is another thing. Like we were
How'd you get
15.
those? Were you printing them up or something?
No, we knew somebody whose older brother or sister, older sibling, I don't know who it was in charge of admissions at McGill and had the official unlaminated open face thing. It had a little square for the picture, and we went out and printed up our names. I was
This is before you went to school there.
this was before I went to McGill for sure. This was when I was 15. This was when I was at LCC that we used to use it to get wine coolers at the dépanneur down the street. Oh gosh, what was my name was I want to say his name was Scott Hamilton. I'll remember my name exactly, but it was Hamilton.
You had a phony name also?
Yeah, the fake name. But they were official McGill IDs. And so
Did it have your real height on there?
No, they never had height on those things. Jeez, I forgot about the fake IDs. What was my flipping fake ID name? I'll get it in a second. It's going to come back. Right. So we made them laminate. We ironed them to cause it to melt. And then we had fake IDs, and we would go get California wine coolers after LCC.
Wow.
And,
I love those wine coolers. Didn't you love those wine coolers?
Yeah. If I knew how much sugar they had in them, I probably
a lot of sugar.
It was a lot of sugar. It was
You ever have Yago sangria?
No.
Did you ever have Boone's Farm apple wine?
No. What I remember having once, and it led to a bad experience, was raspberry flavored Smirnoff. And it wasn't.
Ooh, that's weird. That's
no. Weird. My buddy had it. I remember his vomit smelled. So his vomit smelled like raspberry. Hold on. Now it's. Hey Siri, text Dan Freiheit. I just.
You're gonna bring in an outside
question mark. He'll remember it. Oh gosh, this is why
I don't know if you're allowed to ask for a link on this show to try to get some answers to your own questions. But okay. You're reaching out to other people at this point.
No, I can't. It drives me crazy that I can't remember this. It was like it was.
Okay, what happens here? Because obviously, is this McGill time?
This is give or take 18, 19 years old. And let me think. Hold on a second. This was before marrying. I don't remember. But take one thing's for certain. This was after any sort of experimentation phase of my life. So there's not even any good excuse for this. It didn't last long. And I cut it off shortly thereafter. But
cut your hair off or the coloring of the hair?
I cut the hair because I had already bleached it and then it grew out. Gosh, hold on. Now this is the OCD part. I'm gonna obsess over my flipping name.
Oh, your nom de plume.
I'll get my nom de plume. But the thing is this: I got it all out of my system between the age of 13 and 16. And
tell us about your film career, because I'm curious. Do you go to film school of some sort, or you study film? Like, what did you want to be when you grew up?
This was I wanted to direct music videos. I mean,
interesting.
And to some extent, I get to do that now with my videos. But
right.
I went the Dawson College Creative Arts, they call it college for lack of a better word. It's called SAGEP.
Yeah.
It's interview. And I studied film. So I used to do, Mark, I mean, the things that we would get canceled for today, we did as class projects when I was 17 years old.
You're talking about nudity with food?
No nudity. Did I mention the rice filled condom?
No, I have no idea, bro. I have no idea.
So we used to make there was a group of us in SAGEP. We used to make short films. One of them was about an earplug tester, and they always managed to find a way to have like road trip level crass humor in them. Shampoo imitating things, and the one of them we did a short film about a condom tester. And so one of the
favorite show on MTV, Beavis and Butthead.
We never got Beavis and Butthead because we didn't have cable, so we watched The Simpsons.
Right,
but no, so SAGEP, that 2 years where I was on the dean's list, we had a lot of fun, made short films. Some of them were good, and some of them were just,
You shoot them in the backyard. You make up little
in the
sets
backyard.
And stuff.
Shoot them in the backyard. Shoot them with our friend. Like one of them, we cracked our friend's windshield.
There's a picture of your brother I saw once with a giant video camera, the size of
on his shoulder.
On his shoulder. What is that? Let me see that photo of his brother with a giant video camera. It's about 5 people in there. Is this one of the movies that you guys were making at this time?
Let's see this.
I don't know if we can access that group shot. Marion said that one of your brothers was videotaping everything all the time.
Oh, Dan was the Lion's Law. I violated my rule, and Grobert, you're making me sweat a little bit with the questions.
No, that was not my intent, Your Honor. The client here is obviously a hostile witness.
My bro. We used to have a VHS shoulder held video recorder. We used to record everything. I mean, the funny thing is, we got a lot of stuff on VHS that would get you, canceled these days, and then you have like tape recordings of stuff. But we used to phone pranks in. Like my parents would go out.
Like a bomb scare?
No, like we would call. You remember the Jerky Boys?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so we used to try to do the Jerky Boys, and so
which is actually the Red tapes. The Jerky Boys ripped off Red, which was a bar in Newark called Red's Bar, and these kids. That's where the Jerky Boys got.
Yeah, well, they definitely
Red tapes.
They made it popular, or at least it made it famous.
Yeah.
So my parents would go out every Saturday night, give or take, and we would prank.
Who is this here? These are the bicycle mob, or
the guy in the middle is my brother's best friend at the time. But so this is when my dad and I.
Who's the guy on the right? Who's the guy on the right?
That's my dad. That's in the yellow jacket.
He looks so young.
On the far left is me. That was my first. Well, that was not was my first bike. Yeah, that was a Trek Y3, and so I got a mountain bike. My dad had to one-up us and get the Specialized S-Works at the time, the best hardtail on earth. And this was at our reconciliation stage when, after 16, 17, we started doing things together, biking together. The joke is I always say, like, I almost killed my dad when I was a kid in terms of the level of stress I put him through, but then I also saved his life later on to get him back.
When you say reconciliation, was he not talking to you for a number of years?
No, but the relationship was...
The relationship was on the rocks.
It was acrimonious is the word I would use to be look. Yeah, you're dealing with a kid who's a pain in the ass.
Well, there's other kids. Did he just focus on the other kids and just throw you to the wolves? Did he just say you're dead to me? I can't.
No. He never said anything like that to me at all. In fact, the only thing I remember is bad things I said to him, which
when he was beating you, what was he saying? When he was hitting you, did he ever use? Let me ask you something. Did he ever use the strap on you?
Not a strap. We used to get spanked when we were kids, but
with what? His hand?
With his hand. But as of the time I was 13, I was physically stronger than my dad. Like when I was,
you could take your dad in a fight.
I never did. I never had to. But I was no longer anything that you could physically dominate. I mean, no, my dad's not a massive guy, but
right. But you were on the wrestling team. How did that work out?
It was good. I mean, it was good. I was wrestling above my weight. Literally, right. and
you're 130, 138?
No, I was 150. I used to weigh 150. I mean, I still weigh 158, but I was wrestling at 150, 155.
Right.
And so I was always wrestling guys who were in grade 11, and my record wasn't good because I was wrestling guys who had much more experience. But no, my dad, he used to spank us, and at some point stopped because we all, we got stronger than him, and it doesn't work after that. But no, acrimony's like he never said I hate you, I never want to see you again at all. He never kicked me out of the house. Period. I said some things to my dad that I still regret to this day, and those are some of the shudder moments. Is to say, like, you feel bad, but there's nothing you can possibly do about it. And but then the reconciliation was, I was no longer misbehaving, and things naturally heal. And then we started biking together. We got that dog, Winston. We used to go walk the dog together, go take him to the dog.
This is Winston 1?
Winston 1. Winston the Bull Mastiff, who...
Right.
I don't have a picture.
Where's Winston 2? Is he still alive, or did you send him?
He's here. Pudge is the one who's really trying our patience in terms of pissing and shitting all over the house. Like I say, like, when you say, like, Marion is a woman who puts up with stuff that most people wouldn't put up with. We have no carpets. It's her sister-in-law. It's her sister's dog that I've adopted. But when Marion steps in shit and piss and, like, doesn't flip out and doesn't say kill this dog right away.
Like I said, I don't know how she puts up with that crazy crap that goes around on that house. I mean, there's animals, there's lobsters, there's turtles, there's all kinds of fish that you bring in from the sea. Like
she's when I say, like, she's amazing. I come back with Ethan and we have a disgusting tilapia that we pulled out of the Everglades. I say disgusting just because this one actually smelled like SHIT. And we come in and Marion's like, she's in the kitchen. She not in the kitchen in that sense. She's like literally in the kitchen area. It's like, oh, my hunters are back, and like, and she, it's like, it's amazing. She's the most amazing person on earth, and not only puts up with it, but like,
now, what does she do? She's what is her real career besides being the mother of your children? What is her
neuroscientist? So like
when you say neuroscientist, what does she do on a daily basis? I mean, she examines people's brains, or
well, now on a daily basis, she's doing, except for the research in lab, she's doing exactly what she did for the last 15 years, except she's not getting paid because she can't work on my visa, and also she's doesn't want to work as a neuroscientist now. So what she's doing is like, well, not how we, I mean, I say we split house stuff, but we definitely split it based on schedule. So she
But you're both at home all the time, right?
We're both at home all the time.
Right. Every time I come over there, it seems like everybody's home all the time.
My daughter's here with her boyfend. My kids.
How's the boyfriend doing?
He's like, they're.
Wait, this was a guy who was a very Christian young man, right? Or
I would say Portuguese Christian.
Yeah.
Which first of all,
he seemed very nice.
He's nice. He's moral. He's like, when kids are up to good things, you can't ask for anything more. The kid doesn't, as far as I know, doesn't do drugs, and I know that he doesn't do drugs.
Right.
They play music. They're in a band. They're actually good. Like it's an actually good band. He's a wonderful, wonderful kid. Period.
Yeah.
15-year-old relationship. They're not supposed to be together for life, but he's a good kid.
Oh, you don't know. Look at you. I mean,
I know.
Look what happened to you. You don't know, big shot.
He's got Christian values, and I love it because look.
He might have Judeo-Christian values if the two families merge.
Well,
all your children are not Jewish, right?
No, they're all Jewish. But Marion converted Orthodox.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, she converted.
No, which is the. This is how things are changing.
In the ass. Doesn't it take like 2 years or something?
She did a year of private courses with a specific rabbi in Montreal because, for those who don't know, I'm a Kohen. I'm not putting in quotes. I'm a Kohen, a member of the Kohen name. So descendant from a Kohen.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So you're one of the 12 tribes.
We're one of the 12 tribes that are not allowed marrying converts. And so
how did you get around that? A Kohen?
Well, the rabbi said, I don't tell me anything. I don't care who you are, and don't come back. And so he had her for a year. So a year of private classes. She did the mikvah, did the thing. She got her Hebrew name. It's Marion Ruth.
Right. Yeah.
And then the irony is, the funny. So at the time when we
what's your Hebrew name? Do you remember? Or?
No, it's David. It's David. I don't have any specific Hebrew name.
Okay.
I don't know what Andrew.
Mine is Raphael Yisrael.
No, mine's definitely just David. David Ben Moshe. Because my dad's.
Okay. Right.
But so like Marion and I broke up, and I put it in quotes because it didn't last long, but like 2 or 3 times, and it was at a time where I don't say it's stupid thoughts, and some people are going to say it's not. I said, she's not Jewish, I'm Jewish, we're never going to get married, so there's no point.
Wait, that's what happened at the beginning, you're saying? So
like when we were 21, it happened like twice. 2021, it's like if we're not going to get married after a couple of years, we should stop seeing each other. Stupidity. Then she ends up converting and she took the class.
Did she tell you she was converting?
Yeah. No, I knew she was converting.
But what did you think when she was converting?
I said, this is awesome.
In the Mitten Drid, this chick starts converting to Judaism, and you just think she's doing it for a hobby?
No. Well, no. At that point, I knew we were getting married, and so like it was great. I said, if only it will be. It's the way of avoiding future conflict in terms of like at the time I said like it doesn't matter how religious we end up living. It's that at least we're sort of ideologically aligned on this issue, that it's not going to be a divisive issue or a divider issue as we get married. The irony is she's converted. She's finds value in it, and I've gone off the deep end in terms of being a sacrilegious.
You've really gone off the reservation, haven't you?
I have, and I have almost a bit of not resentment for it. For Judaism,
who's the most Jewish person in your entire clan among the siblings, your mother, father, grandmother?
Oh, I got three siblings.
Let's take a look at these people here. Now,
we go.
You're in the background doing some rock climbing. I don't know what
this was the other family vacation we took. So we had Israel and we have the Gaspésie. I'm 15, 16 years old. No, maybe say 15 years old. We're off on a road trip to the Gaspésie, which is like on the east coast of Quebec. That's my brother.
First of all, who are these people? Who is the guy with the camera?
So the guy with the camera is Dan, Lion Advocacy, my brother. In the middle is Adam, my brother. Left is my dad with his stupid Tilly hat. He always had those Tilly hats, much like the one that they had in Egypt that they took off his head. Right. And then that's me in the back.
I mean, these are pretty big people.
No, yeah, my dad's 5'6". My brother, there's 5'8".
Oh, you know what? They're all probably the same size. That's why.
And I'm in the back. That's me. I'm wearing a tie-dye shirt and Guatemalan overalls, shorts. Like, and my hair is orange because
what is going with the orange hair, bro? What is that?
I bleached it with peroxide, and it wasn't like the quality peroxide. So instead of turning it bleach blonde, it turned it shit orange. And so I looked like a.
What is it? Is this like a rock quarry or something?
No. This is you're not supposed to be rock climbing there, but this was at. I'm fairly certain this is at the Roche Percée, the pierced rock itself. And the tide was down. We walked out and we took this picture. And I'm wearing, by the way, horn-rimmed commie glasses. So to say that I look like a fucking freak is an understatement. I remember
you wanted to look like a freak. This was your freaky period.
And you took pride in being unique in your superficiality of I'll make myself look like a freak to stand out and have an identity. I remember it clear as day. And we went on this trip. I was reading a book on Buddhism. Peace in Every Step is the name of the book. If anyone can actually pull that up and fact check me.
Wow.
And I remember the joke was we were somewhere where it was like blistering hot and I'm sweating. And I tell my brother that, there's no amount of Buddhism that's going to cool me down now. But that was the other.
I mean, did they look at you as the wayward brother and just laugh it off?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the hell they possibly.
What did they think of you? I mean, obviously you're younger than them.
Who
was your number one go-to brother?
For the longest of times, it was Dan, and then later on, it actually became Mark, the oldest.
Yeah,
and but I get along. We all get along today, despite our wildly differing politics.
Right.
And we talk. And
there's some people there that are liberals, and some.
I will not mention any. I will
don't
tell anybody else.
Just give me a head count. How many lefties versus how many conservatives?
Including their spouses, or just among the siblings?
Among the siblings and your parents.
3 conservatives, 2 liberals, and my parents. I'll just put them totally neutral. My dad is a fiscal conservative, and he's a. My dad's more conservative than liberal, but I don't know. I don't know. But among the kids, 3 conservatives, 2 liberals, and proudly so. I think the liberals are idiots when it comes to politics, but it doesn't matter. We do absolutely.
Do you fight, or can you break bread together? And
oh no, yeah, sure. We just like literally. It's like the political discussions escalate to a fight in 5 minutes, and then it's like, okay, that's it, done. And then it's like we go play Scrabble.
Right. No, okay. Are they aware of the changes in Canada, or are they oblivious to it? I mean, the people
two of them live in Canada still.
Right. So I'm saying, are they oblivious to what's happened there?
Well, the grass is always greener. Like everybody in the States thinks Canada is a utopian paradise in terms of whatever, and they don't understand it. The ones in Canada think America. No, I say actually, it's not even the grass is greener. People up in Canada think it's like Mad Max America. So. No, they have a utopic version of what Canada is, I would say.
Right. Okay. Wow. That's interesting. Now, I've been over your house where you've brought home the catch of the day sometimes. And, like I said, there seems to be all kinds of different critters that are roaming around, these dogs without legs. You've got animals that just come out of nowhere at times. You bring
strong. Okay, hold on.
I'm not watching television.
Okay, it'll happen. I don't want to get my finger stuck in it. Hold on. This.
And what are you doing there? What was that thing?
I was given a lobster a knife, and then we cooked it and ate it.
Did we eat that lobster?
Was that was your video?
That was my video. So
we definitely ate it. I mean,
okay.
This is how much I've fallen off the wagon. It's not a resentment of Judaism per se. It's a resentment of not resentment.
How are you eating so much trafe? That's what I'd like to understand.
Because it's flipping delicious, Mark. I mean, there's nothing more delicious than bacon, period. And there's nothing more delicious than shrimp, lobster, squid. All of the good stuff is unkosher. But the reality is, there's a member of our locals community who, if there's anybody who could cause me to convert not to Christianity, Judaism, or whatever, but to spirituality, it's this person in particular. I don't like the organized aspect of any religion.
Right, I get that part, but push comes to shove, you think Goebbels is going to listen to you?
No, that doesn't matter. Push comes to shove, we're all going to die anyhow. It's just a question of how we get there. And no, like see, that's the thing. It's like when it comes to like, I don't like brotherhoods, like if for good and for bad. And I don't like the favors that.
You're talking about the Muslim Brotherhood, or
no? I'm talking about like the Jew, any religious brotherhood where someone says like, "Oh,
sounds like a Woody Allen routine." I don't want to be or Groucho Marx.
Well, I mean,
I don't want to be a member of any club that would have me as a member.
I just don't want to be a member of any club where, by virtue of being a member of the club, you either get preferences or you get penalties. Like I want neither. And so, like when you talk to people, it's like, "Oh, you're Jewish," and they're like, "Oh, all right, awesome. Now we're part of some fraternity, so we're going to be friendlier to each other than if you weren't." Like I hate that, and I hate the fact. I also hate the fact that people go to. It's the same thing at church, but my experience with the synagogue. People go to synagogue to be spiritual and religious, and they sit there talk about fucking business, and they do all sorts of sinful stuff, and like. I don't need that. I don't want to.
They're doing sinful stuff in the synagogue. What are they doing?
No. I mean, like,
out?
No, they're just like they go there to do non-spiritual things, and then everyone's like, "Well, it's the wrong synagogue. Go to another one." My experience is that.
Well, you were raised conservative or Orthodox?
Well, I would say definitely. I don't know. I mean,
Jew-wise. I mean,
I don't know.
The congregation. It wasn't Reformed, right?
You would no. It would have been Orthodox then. I think it was the.
It sounds like Orthodox to me. I mean,
Orthodox. It definitely wasn't liberal and it wasn't Reform. I mean, it was the women and the men were separate. So
that's Orthodox. It's definitely Orthodox.
But, so I don't like it. I don't like the.
Well, who likes it? Maybe if you were raised conservative, like a regular thing, it would have taken.
Well, no, who knows? Maybe if I was raised, I'd be more conservative. I'd be more vitriolically anti whatever. I don't know. For a while,
there's nothing we could do about it now.
No. But no, all that to say.
Tell me about your pets. I just want to get to understand the pets that are in your house, because I know the dogs, but you have pets that a lot of people don't have. I don't know if you still have this pet, because you were showing me this pet at one point, and I said, "Why the hell am I looking at this thing? I'm going to crush this."
No, I feel bad because
what's he doing?
he's trying to move, but he just can't because of the floor.
Oh, he's not getting the traction. It's a slippery floor.
Here you go. Look at that's the tank. This one's a big fatty right now.
That's a lot bigger than the other one.
Yeah, got him at the same time.
I tried running to the end.
Funny story about the turtle. One of them died. Not funny. It crawled into the little waterfall and didn't come back up. One of them.
Well, you found that entire tank somewhere. You said.
So we got this 200. I think no, it's more than that. It's like the tank.
It's a huge tank.
It's huge. Look up a $2,000 whatever plastic tank. Huge.
Right.
Someone was giving it away, or someone was throwing it out after they had it for sale. And I go and grab it. I asked for, I made sure it was being given away. Nearly killed myself bringing it over here because it weighs at least 500 pounds. And I wheeled it over on like one of those little wheel, like school things that they took the TVs out on. I forget what it's called. So the neighbor, we've become known as the collection house of animals. Someone found a red ear turtle in their pool, a baby. They brought it over and we put in the tank. Someone found a cooter turtle. I don't know where. They brought it over. We put in the tank. We wake up one morning and we can't find one of the turtles, period. We scour the house, can't find it. We ended up finding it under the washing machine in another room. I was like, that turtle needs to go free. It got out of the tank, fell 4 feet onto the ground. Man, so I double checked with Florida Wildlife that we could re-release a slider turtles. They said you could.
That little one or some?
Well, it was much bigger by the time we released it, but both of them. I said these turtles need to be free. We've saved them, gotten them big enough to survive on their own. One of them was eating the guppies, or not the guppies, but the mollies out of the tank. So I was like, okay, it can survive on its own. And I double checked with Florida Wildlife. I have the date, documented call. They said you could release them, so we put them out in the back in the Everglades pond. And
what is your relationship with the Florida alligators at this point?
They know me by name and I know them by name, and I know them.
Okay, all right. Well, we got a couple of super chats from some of your fans, so maybe we'll take a look. Maybe they have some questions for you that I possibly couldn't come up with. Who knows what these people have questions for? Here's something for you.
Did you
pick AKA from Latin living? Oh, maybe your name or something.
Viva Frei. It was so getting into
Thanks,
the
Mike.
Thanks, was totally random because that squirrel video. Okay, practicing law, hating every day of my life, go into the office, come back miserable. You make money and then you spend all the money that you have to try to make yourself.
Yeah, what was your law career like? I know you said
it was good. I mean,
you made money, but you hated your life. You couldn't do it anymore. Your father was proud of you, but you secretly hated doing this.
yeah, it was secretly and then not so secretly.
Right.
Study, you know.
How did you get out of it with a lawyer dad? I mean,
Well,
did he,
Mark, like when I got out of it, in debt.
he must have broke his heart. It must have destroyed him.
No, I think what broke his heart more was seeing me miserable. Like I remember the one of the last moments. So I study law, CEGEP, you know, Dean's List. Then I get into McGill philosophy, do that for 4 years, get my honors degree in philosophy. Then I get into Université Laval, go do my law degree. Then I get an internship.
Did you cheat on the finals in philosophy by looking into the soul of the student sitting next to you?
No, but philosophy, I did an extra year of school because I went to Paris for the exchange, you know, the whole German girl story.
Yeah.
But to get an honors degree, you had to maintain above a 3.0 GPA. And it was pass fail in France. So when I get back, it's like, yeah, this doesn't count for your honors degree. I said, well, I'm going to do an extra year to get my honors degree because I'm not just getting a BA in philosophy. So I graduated with honors. Then I went to law school, all French, you know, wrote my exams in French, passed, did my bar exam.
Why did you had to do it in French? Or
I could have technically not, but I'm, you know, one of 12 Anglo students, a Jew.
When you get into a fight with Marion, is it in French?
No, I actually don't. I mean, I cannot think of an actual fight that Marion and I have ever had.
Right. Oh, so you've never had a fight, so you would never go to another language.
I never go to, no, I had a fight with her best friend about the fact that we never had fights. And then her best friend's like, yeah, you had a fight. I remember that time you were arguing over the directions when you were on a road trip. I was like, that's not a fight. That
wasn't a fight. That's a discussion.
But so I graduated law. I didn't have to do things in French, but I was a Anglo in a French university. I was not going to ask them to work around my linguistics.
Oh, I see. You would have stood out like an Anglo thumb. Yeah,
be an asshole. Like you go to study at a French university so that you can ask them to write your exams in English. Like I would have been an asshole to me. So really I wrote one exam in English. It was criminal law. Worst grade I got, like a C+. And then I did everything else in French, and I got my French good, graduated, passed the bar with a 60. I remember I was on a golf course when my mother's like,
everything's a 60 with you. Everything
is like, she logged. I said, Mom, you got to log in. The results are out. She's like, I see a 60. I was like, did I have to get over 60 to pass, or did I have to get 60 to pass? I passed with 60 on the nose. 59 would have been a fail. You would have to redo the entire freaking year. Then I did my internship.
Close,
dude, close is not even the word. It was like, and I knew people who failed with 59. They asked
what?
And they asked for a review because you could ask for a review, and they didn't get it bumped up one.
Yeah, that's harsh. That's harsh. Well, let's say, hold on. I think we have another super chat here for you in a second. Viva, you seem to love the outdoors and fishing. Are you sure you're Jewish? Well, we did live in the desert for a long time as a people. I don't want to mention that, but go ahead, Viva.
Are you dressed? Yeah. You can come say hi if you want. Get over here. Get over.
Ethan,
he can't hear.
He can't hear you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold on. No, I don't want to do it. I'm gonna screw up the mic.
No, don't do it.
Okay, go for it. He can hear.
Oh yeah. How many baseball cards you got?
I don't know.
I can tell you how.
What about your glove? You still have your glove?
He's got the glove in the car. But
all right.
Now do this quickly. Okay, bring the binder, and then so I love the outdoors. It was actually. It is weird. I used to do rock climbing and all this great stuff. So we got a bunch of cards.
Oh, I got to look at these ones. I got it. I'll go through those. I got down there. I'll go through those. Ethan, save those for me.
Save them. We got Mark. We got a binder. Like I think we must.
Okay, because I have some cards I'm going to donate to Ethan from my collection. Viva.
He's got cards he's going to donate to next time he sees us. Okay, get out. I'm done. Get out. Go.
I'm going to bring some. I'm going to bring some cards for him that I have.
Oh, are we doing show and tell? I can't. This is.
You can't mention the coloring book.
I was busy telling stories of misbehaving as a child,
Marion, you should have heard these stories.
She's been. I say volunteering because it's what she's been doing. But putting together this neuro book about a coloring book, and it's
that's beautiful.
Building a legacy. It's
She said you can buy it
on. Oh, wow.
You can get it on Amazon, but 0% of the proceeds go to Viva and Fam.
I'm going to get that.
No, it's amazing. Maria Zamfir, she's working with, and I showed my shoulders, and so this is what it's got. All brain. Second here. It's right here.
Let's go. Let's put that in the comments. Let's put that on below in the description. Then we'll put a link. You have an Amazon link for that?
I'll get it to send.
Okay, send me an Amazon link. I'll put it in there. Oh, by the way, we've got a sponsor I wanted to tell you about, Viva. We've got a new sponsor that we wanted to mention to the to the audience. This might be a favorite of yours. Maybe you can help me with this thing.
Oh,
There is,
biltong.
yeah, no, we got Biltong USA. Now, I don't even know what Biltong is, but this guy who's a friend of yours contacted me. He's from South Africa, but he lives in Texas, and he's making this Biltong USA stuff. Sent me a couple of bags of it, and it's unbelievable.
Absolutely delicious. But Mark,
dude, I never eaten it in my life, and now I am addicted to this stuff.
Is your code? Is there a typo in your code?
No, it's supposed to be Mark G. Yeah, there is a typo.
Okay, good.
Gonna have to
Hey,
fix
look,
that.
I can find other people's typos. People, I just can't find my own.
No. It's Mark G, and
Mark
you get 10% off. MARKG is the typo.
It is, but just it's like it's not my sponsor. You know, he always rumble rants.
Right.
It's the best. The only problem is I think I might eat too much of it. Where like I eat a bag, and it's still like eating a steak.
Right.
It's when you're driving and you want to stay awake and you don't want to have shit sugar stuff. You eat this stuff, and it's just better.
Do you like it super dry?
No, I like the.
Do you put it in the paper bag and dry it?
No, I leave it in the plastic. I put it in the fridge, and then when I take it out, I leave it in the open
it's
fridge.
moist. I kind of like that it's moist.
No, it's cured. It's not. It's like a prosciutto. It's not like dried beef jerky like that. The Jack's Link stuff breaks your jaw chewing on it, and then
I don't even like that. This is like the gourmet version of beef jerky. Is my shorthand explanation.
The one I do love. It's not the. It's the schnitzels. They're called like. Dwart. It has a DWO in it, but it's like schnitzel sticks, and it's got clover. It's delicious. Biltong.
Right. Well, if you go to that QR code, that'll open up their entire menu to people at home. And he's got chocolates on there. He's got a lot of stuff besides this. There's cookies on there. There's all kinds of weird stuff. And if you put in the code, you get 10% off, and he mails it to you. And you're gonna love this. You really are. I mean, I'm gonna ask the guy for some more.
The problem, what drives me nuts is like this type of stuff. If people knew it existed, they would.
I didn't know it existed. Did you know it existed?
No, because the thing is, it's not. People are going to think like I'm trying too hard. It's not beef jerky because it's not dry beef. It's like prosciutto of beef. So soft, wet, but also dry, and it's just
Well, he makes it himself in Texas. He's part of this new group of South Africans that are moving here. I guess he was on the first wave, and now he's doing this himself, creating this stuff with his wife and 5 homeschooled kids. This is your friend Anton, right? The Anton Biltong.
Oh, I see. Just Opinion. It says buy every Pete Rose card you can get your hand on. Now it's already factored into the price. Now it's too late.
No, if you don't know what biltong is, the bill actually means ass and tongue means tongue. So in Africana means ass tongue. Yeah. Bill and tongue, ass tongue.
So everyone was making jokes about me having beef in my mouth when the actual name of it is already hilariously dirty.
Right. You could go to that link. There's also a link in the description if you want to look at it afterwards and order some stuff. I would try it if I were you guys. It'll blow your mind. Hey, Mark, please tell Viva to buy every Pete Rose card that he can get his hands on. I've got a few. Next year, he'll be inducted in the Hall of Fame. He's right about this. Justin's correct. There are things that you really need to know about certain players. This is obviously on the nose, the Pete Rose one, because that's an obvious one. But there are other things of people coming up. You're on the right track. Speaking of addictive personalities, and my kid, my kid just came in and said, "I know what you did," and I thought it's because he was listening to the stream. But he opened up the where we put the baseball cards, and he saw that I got another box of these. This is it's stupid expensive as far as I'm concerned for UFC trading cards, but. I'm going to put together videos of unboxing or opening these packs, right? But I'm trying to get some valuable cards so that I can hold on to these things for 10 or 20 years. But so now we're going to have to do a I mean, if somebody's rookie of the year, that's obviously a dead giveaway. So watch the award season, because immediately after the postseason games are over, they'll give you awards, and if what you want to know is those awards for rookies of the year. Yeah. Well, my theory now is, at least with the UFC 2023, I love UFC, and I'm getting into it with my kid. We're going to order some fights now, and hopefully he'll get into actually doing some MMA. So there's a side brainwashing element to this where it gets you into something that is wholesome and good for you. And my operating theory of life, Mark, and we've talked about this, is that I think life is about having addiction, or life is about
substituting unhealthy addictions for healthy addictions, and so long as they make you better and they make you stronger and they don't hurt you, I think human nature is prone to addiction or prone to habitual behavior.
Just using the wrong word. It's not really addiction. It's just obsessive behavior is what you're describing.
Yes, and I think I've got that.
No, you definitely got it. This guy, Dog Boy's got it too. He subscribed, hat wearing man, rock on Garth.
You're doing. I saw. First of all, performance of the first show was amazing with Hunley. I saw.
That was great. Yeah, that was. I'll tell you something. I didn't know this crap about you, and I didn't know that stuff about Hunley. And we're going to get Barnes on in 2 weeks and get to the bottom of that story.
Oh, I know.
Unless
Barnes,
his head explodes from all the activity that's going on.
Dude, Barnes has been. I think we did.
What is he up 24/7 now on a commando raid with Alex Jones?
On a flipping mission now to try to avoid what he thinks is going to lead to the fall of the Republican.
Oh, for the love of Christ!
No politics on this one.
No, not on this one. Not on this one. But what we're going to do is get Rich Barris is coming on in a couple of weeks. We're going to get into his life. We don't need to rehash the political discussions because you all got your own channels. So Barnes, this is what.
Barnes
go ahead.
I'd say my first interview with him, I only not cracked the nut, but got some of the really childhood stories. His father died when he was young, and I think that type of trauma is going to shape a person.
Absolutely,
one way or the other. But no, you'll get his story, and you'll ask him when he lost his virginity.
No. I'm going to give him the same treatment I gave you, Viva. There's not going to be any difference. Oh, also, if you guys are looking for all things South African, this is my film pick of the week. This is a film called Stander, which is about a policeman turned bank robber in South Africa at the height of a lot of crap going on there. And that's my old friend. That's my old friend Thomas Jane playing Stander, who was a true story about a cop. In South Africa who robbed banks.
That was my question. If it's a true story, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Standard's a great film.
Grobert, is there anything that I forgot? Well, we're still going to go here, but I'm trying to think. I want to make sure that I didn't leave any.
I wanted to get up to current day somehow because you get this.
Oh, that's right. Well,
we didn't even cover the squirrel video, which
no. So that's it. So that's it. Well, we got distracted. We got sidebarred on the. So I passed the bar.
We do the biltong thing, and then we had some super chats, and now we're back to the show.
Back to things.
Okay, now tell me about this squirrel. Tell me about before.
Well, this wasn't the original one. Oh, by the way, don't play this video because you're streaming.
No. We're not that crazy.
So I passed the bar. You have to very soon. Get out here. I passed the bar, get a 60. I go do an internship at a place called Borden Ladner Gervais. So 1% of law students get an internship at a big firm, and I can't take credit for everything. My dad's name, Freiheit, throughout Canada, as far as the profession of law goes, carries with it some.
What would be the equivalent, like Dershowitz here?
It's a smaller market in.
No, I'm saying relatively speaking, though.
If
your dad the Dershowitz of Montreal?
I
think it's a simple question, Your Honor.
I think it would be a fair comparison.
Okay,
but when you say when I grew up and it's like, oh, you're Freiheit, I know your dad type thing.
Right.
And it was just national.
Were you acting out against that? Was that why you were acting
out?
No,
not at all. I just
oh, you
never understood why.
Okay.
I never understood why so many people hated my dad, but now I do.
Right.
So many.
So he was not a beloved litigator. He was just a tough litigator.
No, he was beloved to his clients, and he was detested by anyone who had to deal with him.
Did he ever represent the mob or the motorcycle gangs? Or
no, he never did criminal, but he never did criminal. I'm trying to think of some of the more. He never did.
Did he have any real dark clients who did stuff in civil lawsuits? I mean,
no, that's the thing. And I say you could judge a lawyer by the clients they have, and you can judge a client by the lawyer they have. And my dad, he didn't represent unsavory and not
okay.
He did some civil rights stuff back in the day.
He sounds like a mensch. I don't know what you're complaining and acting out about.
In the corporate business, no one wanted to be up against him type thing. And other lawyers. Right. So I get a job at Borden Ladner Gervais, BLG, do my internship, get hired back as a young lawyer. I'm young. I've been there for 2 or 3 years, but what they call on partnership track. Everybody looked at me. He's a Freiheit. He's a great, he's
like a junior partner in waiting.
No, not even not even a junior, just the young lawyer. But I could speak.
On my show that I created called The Freiheits, there's a young boy who comes to the firm. Is that you?
It would be me. I could draft well, I could plead well, and I could I could examine well, cross-examine. The only thing is that at a big firm as a young lawyer, they don't let you do those things. You sort of attend to others. every day was more miserable than the last. I didn't like 5 cassettes. I didn't like going to the Christmas parties. I didn't like working on the weekends. We had our first kid. I had,
Did you think about starting your own little private firm?
Well, that's what happened. So after,
I didn't know that. Okay.
I quit on a Friday. So my first daughter's born, Mila. I take 2 months off or 3 months off as parental. And some people made the joke it was maternity leave. I took 3 months off. Quebec had the program. You get paid like $2,000. Let's say $2,000 a month. It was
really wow.
You get paid something to be with your kid, and it was great.
Right.
And
That's great.
And then I went back to the office, and I was still miserable. And then working I leave the house, kids asleep, come back, kids asleep. And one weekend, I was like, I told my wife, I just can't do this anymore. And so I'm at the office on a Friday afternoon, and I call, my mentor boss comes in. His name is Jacques, and I say, Jacques, and he's like, before I even finish the sentence, he says, I know. I was like, so that's it. I'll stay. I'll help for as long as you need, but I can't do this anymore. And so I, tidied up the file, stayed there for another 2 weeks, give or take 2 weeks or a month. And then I said, I'm going to do commercial photography back to Dawson.
This is based on your film career or like
no, this is just, I said, I'm going to do anything else except for law. And so Mila was about 9 months old. We had just bought a house. I'm in debt. Like we're in debt. And I said, that's it. I'm just going to go back, and I applied to commercial photography.
Is she working at all? I mean, where are you getting money from?
She's working, but everyone thinks like neuroscience research is everyone thought that she was the breadwinner or the money bank.
Right. The brain winner.
They get paid absolute piddly squat. Like
she's just a researcher, right?
But like a researcher, her PhD, postdoc, 10 years experience.
Right.
Like, I don't know, 45,000, 55,000 Canadian.
Right.
So we had that revenue, and it was, and she had a flexible schedule, but I said, I'm out, I'm done. I'll go do commercial photography. I apply for commercial photography, get put on a waiting list. And like within 2 or 3 days, everyone's like, hey, Viva, it's not Viva at this point. It's Dave, I heard you left the firm. What's your hourly rate? It's like, I don't know, $150. I was like, all right, good. I got X, Y, and Z. So I started working literally like using my parents' basement
You're doing baby pictures or?
No. This is for law. So people like,
your own law firm, right? Okay.
Yeah, and then within like a month, I had more work than I knew what to do with. So then I go and I get a small office for like $700 a month, and then I started doing that. Before I could get rejected from school by August, I'm busier than I know what to do with, and I'm totally on my own. No overhead, charging $150 Canadian an hour, and like
wow.
That's like, so other than
where do the clients come from?
Well, half of them were people that I said no to when I was at BLG because the firm didn't want to take them because it's small clients. No blame either way.
Hold on a second. Let's just answer this for both. Who's your 3 favorite guitarists of all time? I don't know if you got 3, but
I only have Blink 182 as a band and Slash. I mean Slash is my favorite guitar.
Thanks, Justin. Thank you. I mean, I have to go with Hendrix. I've seen Johnny Winter. That was incredible. Probably one of the greatest guitar players of all time. Hendrix. And, I got some weird ones, man, like we're moving up, like Joe Walsh, just absolutely insane. But, there's some blues guys too, but I'll get back to you. Thank you. Let's get back to the story. Just wanted to be polite about that.
Yeah. So I get my own small office, which was a block up the street from where we used to live. And then I start practicing solo. And then I end up ultimately getting rejected from commercial photography. I don't think they thought a 33-year-old man was serious about dedicating his life to commercial photography. And then the solo practice picked up. And then I got so busy, I hired a paralegal who started working with me. Amazing. Then another lawyer came. And then my dad got forced out of the partnership at Stikeman Elliott. And so he says, I'll join. And then we join. We're 4 lawyers, give or take. We get a beautiful office in downtown.
Wait. Your dad's now working for you?
Not for at all, but with. Yeah, he comes in, but he brings his own clients.
Did he come with hat in hand? He brought in some clients?
Oh no, he came with clients that he
stole the clients from the firm.
No, they
brought them to his son's firm.
They were following him wherever he went.
That's what you're saying now, but that's not what I heard from the firm when he left.
No,
what I heard was this son of a bitch took half of our client base.
No, it's nothing like that. Because when an older guy leaves the partnership, I mean, the firm didn't, would be happy to lose the clients that he would be happy to take because they want corporate institutional clients. And we had some of those, but he brought his own clients. He tended to his clients. I had mine and I tended to mine. And then it was amazing. We went from like,
what's not to like?
No, we were fighting, from no an acrimonious relationship for 3 years from 13 to
This
16.
is operating out of a small office now that you got, or you
It was
expanded?
actually- it was a beautiful office. It was small, but you know,
Yeah.
three offices, and it was a building called the Aldred Building in Montreal, Old Montreal. And we did that for, I want to say, like close to 5 years until, you know, I couldn't do that anymore. And then I remember the one time we're at lunch.
When you say you couldn't do that anymore, you mean you mentally?
Yeah, like I hated every day showing up to the office. I hated working with these fucking clients who are everyone's always miserable. Everybody. Opposing counsel's miserable. Their client is miserable. Your client is miserable. The practice is miserable. You go to court. The clerks are miserable. The judges are miserable. You got to go chase. I mean, it's like it's operating a business of misery. And so like, and then you got to go.
Wow.
You feel sick.
No wonder they charge so much.
Well, that's the thing. You charge so much. I felt shitty taking money because these people couldn't figure out their own problems. And so like, it was just there was
what were you specializing in the civil world they couldn't figure out?
Landlord-tenant disputes.
No, really?
Oh yeah. Like one of my favorite clients was a restaurant that, you know, we had good reason not to pay rent, but then you have a contract that says you don't get to withhold rent for contractual obligations, and then you have so the push and pull of litigation. But I just hated it. Operating your own business, being able to tell your own clients no and bye-bye. There's the liberation that comes with that is amazing. And having your own business and tending to your own business is a beautiful thing. But not loving what you do catches up with you at some point.
Right.
And it caught up with me. Plus I had two clients who committed suicide. One was sort of a relief to everyone, and the other one was
they did it because of your service.
No,
to them?
one of them was
you lost the case, or no? They just
no, it's just one of them was just manic bipolar, and it was a miracle that he only took himself out and nobody else.
I see. He had mental problems.
Actually, like one of my more traumatic experiences was actually
you found him.
No, he found me, and I remember his car. Like he would do circles around the house, and like clearly unhinged. Where like I said he's gonna take somebody else out with him, but
yeah,
as tragic as it is, he only took himself out. The other one, out of the blue, and it was the most upsetting thing of my life. And like I said, this is I can't do this anymore. And not related to my favorite client taking his own life. All things. I go out for dinner with my dad. And I'm like, I'm crying. It's like I can't do this anymore. And he says, I understand, and that's it. So then, but there was something in the interim where I discovered the GoPro and started discovering like video licensing. It was 2014 in November. 5th, I got a GoPro for Christmas, started making fun videos, and then I uploaded the squirrel video to the internet. It went viral.
Wait. But just tell me where you found the squirrel and what's the big deal about this squirrel?
So there are squirrels all over Montreal, and everybody knows you feed them. They're aggressive. Well, aggressive in the sense that they come up to you, they'll like crawl up your pants and take food.
Oh, really? That is aggressive.
They'll go into your stroller and steal everything you've got.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
And so after I got this GoPro, I'm like, oh, I'm going to put a piece of bread on the GoPro and see what happens. And it was history. The squirrel came, sniffed it. It was cute. Took it in its little claws, took it up a tree, ate the bread, dropped it. I picked up the camera, pressed stop on the record.
The food was attached to the camera?
Yeah, like I taped a little piece of bread to the GoPro itself.
So you took the whole thing up in the tree?
This wasn't the one, but this one ended up taking a beating. But so I put the little bread on the top here, taped it down. Right. The squirrel comes up and then took it and then just ran with it up the tree, ended up eating the bread. Oh, I got glass on my hand. And then so I upload the video to the internet, and like within a day, it's got a million.
That's pretty genius. That's like William Friedkin throwing the camera down the stairs in the horror film that with not Poltergeist, the head spinning around.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Friedkin took the camera and she was falling. Somebody's falling down the stairs. The priest. In The Exorcist, and he threw the camera down the stairs by itself, and that was the film footage that he gathered, was the camera falling down a long flight of stairs.
That's very cool. It's similar to the guy who did the thing where the monkey took the selfie, and then there was a whole copyright dispute over the monkey picture, except in this case there was no copyright dispute. I uploaded to YouTube, and this was back when things could go viral organically on YouTube. Within a day, it's got 1 million views. I'm like, oh my God, this is refreshed, and it had another 10,000 views.
Wow.
And then I get an email from an agency called Newsflare, and they say, hey, we saw your video. We'd love to license it with you. And I had no idea what it was. And I say, okay, fine. And that video I must have made like $10,000 or $15,000 off that video alone. But then I just started uploading videos, funny videos to the internet, licensing them through Newsflare, and making money. And it's making like it ended up becoming like consisted of like $500 a month or something along those lines, with the occasional huge sale of a video, huge like $1,000, and it's like, oh my God, I'm rolling in it.
But you must have thought that was unbelievable.
It was amazing because it was what that was the cathartic release from the drudgery of the practice of law. And then at one point it became relatively sustainable. And I said, look, this is when I had the discussion with Marion. It's like, I can't do this. Maybe we can make if we're at like maybe a few $1,000 a month on this, and I'll try to. I ended up working with my buddy doing at his marketing firm, and that went. It didn't go south. It just didn't go forward. And then I remember Marion was saying, like, one of the videos I licensed was I tied a plastic bag to an iPhone and tied the phone to a rope and would swing it around, and the bag would create drag. So I could create like a gyroscopic effect of the camera being pulled around me. And I said,
this is pretty smart, Viva. This is
good.
And
then I said, life hack, how to make a 3D camera. So the video was amazing. You could swing around. It would get me 360 in slow motion.
Wow.
And then Marion said at the time, like she said, it was not Viva at this time. She said, Dave, if you can make money tying a plastic bag to an iPhone, we'll figure out a way. And then I wound up the law firm in, I think like the formal decision was like 2016, 2017, but I kept a couple of clients. Took 2 years to really finally wind everything down. Took about a year. I had to give away the files, close the files, find new lawyers. I couldn't leave clients high and dry. So that was like a year plus with no revenue.
To make this transition from the two worlds.
To do the video stuff, viral videography, work with my buddy at his marketing firm.
What was the first YouTube channel you had?
It was always Viva Frei, but it had no name until the squirrel video. I just called it Viva Frei, and for no better reason.
How did you come up with Viva Frei, by the way?
It was at the time. It was Viva Frei, live free or die. There was no
Viva Frei, live free or die. Okay.
Yeah, but then my parents, live free or die is kind of negative. You don't really have to have that. Plus,
it's got die in it. That's not.
Yeah, so we just dropped it, and then I had Viva Frei. But there was no business. There was no idea. It was just like so that it didn't have the blank avatar on YouTube. Right. And then I just kept it. And as the channel got bigger, and as I started focusing on law-related stuff, then my dad's like, "You change the name. People think you're a woman." I was like, I can't change the name.
Wait, why would they think you're a woman?
Because people still do. They think until they see my name, they think Viva and they think Vivian or something.
Oh, short for Vivian, maybe. Yeah.
So, but I never changed the name and just stubbornly or lazily stuck with it, and was doing the like when I left law and said that's it, we're going to close it down. The day like we ended it all, I went on I think it was like a year and a half doing daily videos, and we started on a road trip. And then I just did daily videos for a year and a half, but nothing good, like nothing Casey Neistat high quality, some good stuff and some stupid stuff.
There's two things I wanted to ask you before we get off. Running for office, Alicia, thank you so much. Thank you a lot, Alicia. Thank you. Running for office, and also how you, thank you, Alan, out of New York. Thank you, Alan. Running for office and also meeting Barnes, two separate things. Yep. I just wanted to cover these two things because you ran for office after you knew Barnes. So let's do the Barnes part first.
So the Barnes part actually, it flows next.
They're connected, right?
Yeah. So when I'm doing the daily videos, random stuff, I still had some legal practice. And so early stuff, you see like how to cross-examine a witness or how to prep for a trial. And so whenever I did those videos, everything was either hit or miss. It was like,
you did like how-to legal videos?
Yeah, well, I just did like a day in the life of a lawyer. And so
I didn't know that. And
so, but like 1 out of 20 videos, or not even like a half dozen in the first year, because everything else was cooking random stuff, which would be 500 views, or I'd get lucky and get 100,000. Whenever I put up a law-related video, a day in the life of whatever, it would get like 15, 20,000. And people would say, I like this, do more of this. And so then I just said, then the one day I did a breakdown of Alex Jones' deposition, where it was this is the moment. Like I do this very what's the word I'm looking for? When cringe video where I'm on the roof of my house with sunglasses. I had just watched the full 3-hour deposition and realized the only thing that they were running in the media was that 30-second clip of I was sort of going through a psychosis at the time.
Well, you may be going through one now, so it may have come around full circle.
But like that was all that the news was reporting, and I went and listened to the full 3.5-hour deposition. I'm like, holy crap! this made Alex Jones look good. It didn't make him look bad. And then I just said, okay, I'm going to put together the highlights and tell people what I think.
Did you comment over the highlights? Was that?
Yeah, like I said, like, described a section, played it, described it. And the video, it started going viral. It got up to like 250,000 views.
Wow.
I said, like, okay, this is what I can do. Like, I'm a lawyer by training.
That's
I like
superpower. That's your one superpower.
Yeah, like explaining. I don't want to have to do it because I hate
You're
it.
a
But
good explainer. That's part of being a litigator.
On editing, throw in memes and whatever.
You love that. You like playing with film.
This is what I did. And then I just niched the channel on law stuff. And then it started picking up. Then a couple weeks later, the Alex Jones video gets pulled from YouTube for violating the terms of service for hate speech. And
wait. The hate speech was on whose part?
There was no hate speech, period. Like
right,
there was none. It was just they wanted the video off the. Then I discovered.
Of course.
And so first demonetized, then removed for terms of service. Then I started doing videos about the analysis of the removal. And so that's how I found the niche. Then at one point in time, it was on Twitter. It had to do with Nicholas Sandmann. Barnes reaches out to me or vice versa. And I ask him on for an interview.
Wait, explain who Nicholas Sandmann is.
Nicholas Sandmann was the Covington Catholic kid, who the grinning at the native guy, the white supremacist.
With the drum banging.
Yeah, the drum banging. That was the fake news story of, I want to say, 2019.
That was in DC, or
yeah, it was at
they were visiting the memorial or something.
Yeah, one of the monuments there. They were there for a pro-life event, and this native guy Nathan Phillips starts banging a drum, and they have that screenshot, and it's like, racist white kid smirking at a native guy. I forget how it happened, but we got in touch through that because he was representing the group of the Covington Catholic kids. And then I realized he was the lawyer in the deposition that Alex Jones did, where the lawyer said to Mr. Barnes in the video, "Love your work, Mr. Barnes," at the end of the video. And I never even pieced it together until Barnes came on for an interview. I do the first interview with Barnes. And
what was the first interview about? Alex Jones or the Covington kids?
His life. I don't even remember if
Wait, it was about his own life?
Yeah. I'll send you the link.
It was like a sidebar or something, or
it was just I was doing random interviews at the time.
Oh, right.
With whoever I could get that was of interest, that was would say yes.
Well, don't show me because I don't want to be influenced by it.
Okay, fine. Well, I got Gordo the drummer, the bucket drummer.
Who's Gordo the bucket drummer? This guy.
Go look up. Yeah, he does. He's the
in
most
New York, or there's a lot of them.
He actually does it in Japan. You certainly see videos because his video of the bucket drumming is the most viral. Right. I got him on. I was getting people on. I got Nate Brody on at the time, but so Barnes came on. Then we established a relationship, and then COVID hit, and then we not even niched down, but we started doing weekly streams. World went effing crazy.
We turned to lockdown in separate.
I was locked down in Montreal. He was calling everything that was going to happen to a T. Yeah. We started doing weekly things. I forget when we started locals, but it was right about that time. And then it blossomed. Barnes is, despite some mean tweets that people might get pissed off about, he's the most trustworthy person I've ever met in my entire life.
You're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah,
so you begin this show with him on Sundays, but that takes over. But you're still doing daily or weekly Viva things, right?
Well, then I started doing daily car vlogs. So instead of just random stupid videos,
you ended up in your car. How did that happen?
Because COVID hit. You
could only go out in your car. You couldn't really.
Well, I was locked at home and I couldn't do videos in the house because the kids were just effing annoying and effing loud. So I went into the car. Ethan's a baby, so I have to drive him around until he falls asleep. And then when he falls asleep, I'd start doing a video in the car. And at the time, I would do one video a day on one subject, and it would take 5 hours. Like, nobody understands this. The 10-minute video would be about an hour of content in the car, just me saying my lines.
Wait, you did an hour and cut it down to 10?
I do an hour, cut it down. Yeah, because a lot of it is me flubbing and saying the same thing over and over again.
Right.
Then I got to go edit it, add the memes, add the music, cut, publish, describe, title, cross-reference, cross-publish. So one video on one article would take the whole day. And addictive personality, I would feel anxious until I got the video out. I would be dysfunctional.
You could be a workaholic,
Well, I mean, what else am I going to do? Sit around and play golf? Like,
no, I don't know. I'm just saying,
So the daily vlog videos, which were the short format.
Yeah.
Then the weekly show with Barnes, and that was then things started picking up even more. There were levels in terms of growth. Locals became something amazing, and then
you ended up on Rumble with this.
Before that even was the Ottawa trucker protest.
Oh,
then
right. But somewhere, Mike Schaefer giving you an award. How does you end up on locust? But at some point, you run for office in Canada for the People's Party.
People's Party Canada. Okay, then the briefing is because then how did I get into the daily live stream? Ottawa trucker protest comes around. I go there. I end up going there like every other day.
Right.
And then I realized, like, oh my goodness, like long format live streaming. I didn't realize it was singularly unique to that event. But then I started doing that. And because there was too much stuff to cover in one video, I would start doing live streams in the basement daily. And then after that, that was sort of what I was doing. I would start to do every now and then. Oh, look at this.
Oh, yeah. Is that you? Is that for the trucker thing there, Dave?
That looks like a...
Well, that's when you were running for office, it looks like a little bit.
No. What's on my neck there?
Some press pass or something.
Yeah, I have to remember what that was. I'll get that. I remember the glass.
They're doing stand-ups in the back. It must have been some law trial or something inside of a building.
No, what was that? I'll get that in a second. Okay, so the long format live streams. Then then I just do the live streams. And then what ends up? Okay, so this is during COVID. At some point during COVID, it became clear to me that we were going to have to leave. And it's not a joke. Marion was nowhere near there.
You had an epiphany, or how did that come to you, in a dream?
No. Like, I just say that I'm not living in this effing place anymore. This is
you just fed up. You just fed up.
This is a hellhole, tyrannical place.
Well, why doesn't everyone else see that except?
It was what made it that way is that nobody else saw it. I'm sitting there like,
right. That's why I'm shocked. I don't understand how you're the only one who sees this, and the rest of them are just willing to put up with oppression. I don't get it.
The rest of them were judging me. The rest.
No, I realized that when it was happening. Yeah.
Like, I'm at the Ottawa trucker protest, busting my ass so that people understand that they're being lied to by the media. And I got friends calling me the extreme, like, why are you there? Those are a bunch of crazy people. I was like, you didn't watch one effing day of this. So it became clear to me I was going to leave, like, if only temporarily, just get the hell out. Yeah. And I had to start working that gradually to my wife, because in her mind there was never a chance. Her mother's there, her brother, her sister's there, her friends are there.
She's refusing to leave because of family.
It was never. I would joke about it, and it would be a joke to her, and then slowly massage that idea in. And at one point,
how long did it take you to convince her? Oh, was it a period of months, or
no? I'd say before, from joke to reality, over a year.
Oh, it took over a year. Wow.
It was and then at some point, I said, okay, I know that I'm probably going to end up leaving. So I made the joke, like, I'll run for the country before I run from the country. And if I get elected, I'll stay.
That was your motto, run for the country?
I made the joke.
That's a good motto. That's a good bumper sticker.
Before I run from it, I ran for the country, the party got its ass handed to them. The Liberals got elected.
What did you spend, like 17 grand on that thing?
Yeah, it was 20. It ended up being 20,000. We could only raise 20. I want to say 20,000, give or take. So you could raise what you could spend. Which is good. I kind of like that way better, because it doesn't give the Liberals an advantage, but they have other advantages, like control of the media. And I ran. I got political. I had never been overtly political even until then, because you don't make friends in politics, and nobody cares about your opinion.
Or as a litigator, for that matter.
Well, that was another element of it. It's like, for someone who wants to be loved, and I have no problem saying I want to be loved.
Even now, you want to be loved now?
But I don't care.
There's a lot of love around you. I mean, you've got your daughters, your wife.
You want to be valued for what you contribute to the earth.
By who? By the universe?
By the general population.
Okay, all right.
And
no, I don't know how big of a sphere of love.
It's not love like adulation. It's like you want to.
Well, how do you define the love that you're looking for?
Well, you want to feel that you're doing good, and you want to feel that people get value out of what you're contributing to the world, which I never got as a lawyer. You're dealing devastation to
a lot of this is revenge against yourself for being a lawyer and doing this weird job with no adulation and no love.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of this is you versus you.
Well, I mean, I think
you versus the old.
No, but everybody's life is them versus themselves, and trying to figure it.
This is Viva versus Freiheit, the case 1073B in criminal and civil court.
You want to feel that your value added to the world, and as a lawyer, I never did. It really just felt damage added. And even with so you make some money, but you try to help your clients. By and large, sometimes your clients don't. It's not that they don't deserve help; they've gotten themselves into their own trouble. Everybody
You're trying to get them out of it, and they probably deserve to sink with the ship.
And so you hate everything about it, but with the law, with the content that I'm doing, like, it's not a question of being loved for the opinions. You want to be value added, and I feel that I am. But when I ran for office, I finally got overtly political. I finally expressed myself without biting my tongue. It felt good, and I guess it resonated. And then it went from neutral analysis to analysis with my personal opinion. And
did you go? You did go door to door, right? You did not.
I went door to door to get signatures, and then people were like, "I'm not even signing your petition to get."
How harsh were they? How harsh were the people?
Some of them. This is during COVID. Some of them wouldn't come within 6 feet of me outdoors. I mean, they're crazy in West Mountain.
It was great. It was crazy.
But so I got my signatures. I got on the ballot. I got into some debate. I got into one debate with Mark Garneau and the others. I got some interviews on CBC, or one interview on CBC, and I made videos expressing my politics and expressing what the hell was going wrong in Canada. Election came, or election went. It didn't go the way it should have. And I was like, okay, good. I've done what
that was an opportunity to put a bookend on it, right?
Yeah. I said, I did it.
Yeah.
I said it. Canadians want this. I want nothing of it. And Marion had her epiphany when she went to our kids' high school play,
right,
during the period when they had a vaccine passport in Quebec. So you had to have a QR code if you were 13 and over in order to be in schools, on fields, in restaurants. And our daughter was 12, and she wasn't getting the shot anyhow. And she went to this play, and the teachers were like, "Where's your QR code?" And my wife's like, "She's 12. She doesn't need it." It's like, show me that she's 12. So she's wearing a face mask indoors. They're doing the high school play in masks. And my wife,
come on. That's insane.
It's insane. My wife's like, she's sitting in the crowd. She said, A, they're a bunch of fucking fascists, and B, it's a mental asylum. And she's like, that was her moment. And after that, I was like, okay, good.
Okay, well, she needed something that would probably not be the same for you.
Yeah, no, she
needed her own breaking point.
She hit. It was a year after, like a year after, and then we're like, okay, what do we have to do? We've got to sell everything. We've got to sell the house. We've got to pack up. I mean, we did it. It was sold the house. This was during the trucker time, also, when we were selling our house.
Yeah, I remember that.
Were freezing bank accounts. They doc. I got doxxed. I didn't.
How did
realize
they justify freezing the bank accounts? You were making donations to the truckers or something. What was their?
The rationale was that they were going to freeze the bank accounts of those actively involved in the protest. So it wasn't.
It just seemed like a protest. The whole crime of the protest was double parking. Like, in other words, I never understood the actual crime.
It depends on who you ask. Tell Mark about somebody.
Did you tell me about somebody feed Phil?
The kid is getting 15 more minutes. Get up. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Come on.
Oh, we can't go fishing tonight. We'll go tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
What does somebody feed Phil? Is that the squirrel story?
So somebody, who's the guy? Phil. He used to write for Everybody Loves Raymond. He has his own show, the cooking show on Netflix. This was before I got political. Somebody feed Phil saw my YouTube channel. I used to cook with all sorts of random stuff like ostrich eggs and bull testicles. And they invited me on the show right before COVID. And then COVID happened, and they had to delay the release of the episode until after COVID. But that was when I was on the show with one of my favorite clients at the time, Antonio Park, a master chef out of Montreal who has Park Restaurant, best restaurant ever. I think it's still open. Everybody has to go. Best sushi on earth. But we were on an episode of Somebody Feed Phil, and I'm actually kind of impressed as to how many people actually watched the show, because even in Florida, people are like, I just saw an episode of Somebody Feed Phil.
You're talking about Phil Rosenthal, first of all.
Phil Rosenthal.
Who has a pizza oven in his kitchen and screens. This is near me because I've been going over his house on Sunday nights a couple of years ago, where he has a movie screen. He has a screening studio in his house. Rosenthal, on a pizza oven, where he brings the employees from his pizza place to make the guests pizzas so we can screen movies. Not only does he screen the movies, he brings in the actual director of the movie to tell you about the movie he's screening. That's Phil Rosenthal. Mark,
you didn't. Oh no, you didn't. I didn't even know. Someone said in the chat it was Mark who told Phil. Okay, that's fine. No, it was great. We did an episode in Montreal. It got held off because of COVID. COVID happened. I think it was published afterwards, and it was great. But a lot of people watched that show, and a lot of people. I looked short-haired lawyer in it with my client chef Antonio Park, and it was great. But but Marion hit her moment. We sold our house. I was prepared to leave the house and just cross, just go and worry about it afterwards. My parents, I said, Mom and Dad, you take the house. But we sold the house, moved in with my parents for a bit.
Down in Florida.
No. We moved in with my parents in Montreal.
Oh, that's awkward. That's awkward. That's a sitcom.
It was. We lived with my parents when we had our first kid for a bit until we moved. Three generations of
Freiheit.
Mila doesn't know. She grew up in a closet in the basement of my place.
Just like Patty Hearst when she was kidnapped.
No, it was good. It was a little tense, but because we had which dog did we have at the time? I forget which dog we had, but it was intense. Sold our everything. Got sponsored by Rumble. We didn't have the visa until we went to the border with not a U-Haul, but a trailer that I bought from the bike shop that I used to work at. We packed up everything we could fit in the truck, head to the border with our papers in hand. 2 hours at the border, they give us our stamp, and we crossed the border. And I was like, to drive to the house that we had gotten at a distance, because we couldn't really. I went down once to try to find a place, and we got outbid. And then I was like, I'm not wasting $2,000.
Wait, you talking about in Boca or
in Boca? So we had gotten our place remotely. We had a friend who was down just to make sure it wasn't a total dump. But we got the place from a distance, drove down with everything in the trailer, got our visas at the border, and I mean,
amazing.
Drove for 4 days and ended up in Florida. Get to our house. Didn't realize that you have to connect the water. Didn't realize you have to have pool maintenance. So there's a green swamp in the pool. No running water in the house until we hooked it up with and learn everything about living in Florida. So,
that's an education. But luckily, the school's across the street, right?
The schools are closed, but now we're
they're close by. The other one is
we're homeschooling. So,
I forgot. Is that still going on?
It's still going on, Mark, and it's.
Oh my God, David.
Yeah, the expectations of
holy cow!
The kid wanted to go. I mean, it's like the expectations only stack up. They never decrease. The expectations of being there all the time as a parent only increase the more you tend to it. So, Ethan's homeschooling all day. It's amazing.
What about the other two?
The other two are at one of them's at I guess they call it high school, and the other one's at at school. So the two girls did not need homeschooling. It was quite clear, much like history.
It's not that they won't take Ethan back. You decided to put your foot down and homeschool him.
Yeah, they were. It was only a matter of they were building a file on Ethan where
they're a secret file like they built on you.
Oh, it wasn't secret. I know the next step was going to be medicate your kid and here's the file that you have to. But the day I could
they didn't say that to you yet. You thought that was coming.
No, but the day that I was like, we're taking him out and F this effing school, I get an email from the teacher saying, we had incidents with Ethan today. He did a cannonball into the beanbag, and at lunch he was mixing up his food. And the desk fairy came, and his desk wasn't clean, so he didn't get a candy cane, but he took the candy cane off his neighbor's desk who wasn't there that day. And I'm like,
these things are insane. I mean, the fact that they're monitoring them at that level is insane.
Well, first of all, how did the kid who's not there get a reward of candy? Like, okay, great. Why are they giving them candy sugar as a reward for cleaning their desk? Why are they expecting a 7-year-old?
Especially if they're complaining about hyperactivity, which I think is their main beef, right?
And then he did a cannonball into the beanbag. When I was that age, I was dropping glass bottles down the stairwells at my school, and then he was mixing his food. So I was going to write a humorous response. It would have gone super viral, but I didn't want to embarrass anybody. Mixing his food. I was like, bitch, that comes out as shit. Like, what do you think's going to happen? He's going to eat the carrots before eating the potatoes? Like, mush it together. This is none of what you've described.
What's it to them? I mean, I don't understand. What is their
because they want full compliance from
even in Florida, even in the free state of Florida?
Well, ironically enough, we couldn't get our kids into school when we first got down here because they weren't up to date on their vaccines, and they wouldn't. I'll give a religious exemption next time, but so my response was, thank you for your email. Nothing of what you've described is abnormal for a kid of that age. We'll figure it out internally, and then we pulled them out. And we started homeschooling. So it's
all right. So that's where we are now. We don't know what's going to happen next in the saga of Viva Frei. I think we've made some progress here today.
I'll tell
you
something.
Many in the listening audience. I mean, I didn't know 90% of this stuff.
I see. The thing is this: I don't. When you've survived being an absolute jackass of a kid, people say, "Well, look, I can be a jackass too." But the difference between survival and surviving, thriving, or not is someone turned. I didn't tell you about the 2 times in high school where had the teachers done what they could have done, I would be in fucking juvie, like, and not in any hyperbolic way. I tracked down 2 teachers to thank them personally. One died 6 months after I did it. They could have ruined my life. Like, they could have not ruined it in a malicious way. What I did deserved punishment, and to get expelled from a 3rd school, I'm on a different track. One of them, he's still alive. I said, amazing guy. The other one died 6 months after. I said, thank you I never forgot what you did, because it would have. So I don't, it's fun to get into it and it's fun to have survived it, but I don't want people thinking, well, if Viva did it, I can do it too, because he survived.
What about the killer whale story? Is that a real story?
I don't think so. Okay.
Maybe we got some other chats here. Do you have any other questions from some of the people out there been watching this? This has been an amazing ride for 2.5 hours. This is like Viva stock.
I'll tell you about the other stuff that I will not mention. I got to save some stuff for Rogan, but no, that was
for that call from Rogan someday.
It was just a different time. Like, we used to run through.
No. Obviously.
We used to do this thing called RTPBY. We would run through people's backyards. That was the acronym. And one time. No, this was just during the day. And one time we're running, I jump on somebody's fence. The entire fence collapses. We all laugh and shits and giggles. We run. The guy gets in his car, chases us down, blocks us off of the street. And if you do that in America, and I'm not saying this judgmentally, you'll get shot. In Canada, we knew we would get shot.
Oh, right. You don't have fear of that type of thing up there. It's much more.
And then, what else? Like, one time on Halloween, we threw an egg through a driving car window. And there was a kid in the backseat, like a baby. And then the woman pulls over. She's in tears, like, you effing assholes. I have a baby. Like, stupid things that you are just 12, 13, 14. You're not thinking of consequences. And then, it's the expression, sometimes your sole purpose in life is to serve as a warning to others. And I'll serve as a warning.
It seems like you got 50 warnings and like a cat with 9 lives, and nothing really bad happened to you, but it could have gone south at any one of these events, is what you've been saying, right?
I've got a dozen where it's a coin. A coin flip from disaster. And I say it's like a poker tournament. Someone's going to make it to the end, and somebody's not. And somebody can do all the wrong things and still make it, but you're playing odds. And I luckily flipped a coin.
All right, what are you planning to do when you become a U.S. citizen? Do you have any plans to run for office? Do you want to get your bar license back? What is the long-range Viva projection of the next 5 years? Let me put it.
I will, if it ever happens, and touch wood, may it happen, I would be the proudest and most patriotic, what's it called? Adopted citizen to the United States.
Yeah,
it is. There is a fundamental cultural, spiritual difference between Canada and America. I can understand why some people.
Everybody thinks it's the same, but you've been telling us how radically different it is.
It's radically different. Some people like the safety of some people like the safety of a crate, and other dogs like having to
roam free. You want to roam free.
I'm a free dog. I think I've always been
rough.
So
Viva,
what am I going to do? One day it would be hilarious to run for governor of Florida. That I would not write that off at any point in time. Okay. But a life of politics is a miserable life. Long term, I one day.
You don't have to do it forever. You could just do it for one term and get out.
Yeah, but then people get expectations, and then you sort of I think you'd.
When I have Dr. Drew on in a couple of weeks, we're going to talk about what we've been scheming about, which is Dr. Drew running for governor of California. And that's for the people who are going to see that episode in a few weeks. We're going to talk about Viva's career, and Dr. Drew has some opinions on his own career. So he loves Viva as well. But
what's amazing is in all of this amazingness, the amazing wild journey. I've met you, Hunley, Barnes, Drew. I've made more friends than I've ever had.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
But
then I'll just close out with this, because tell me about the Rumble deal, how you got involved in Rumble, where are you with this thing? What's going to happen with Rumble in the future, and how do I get on Rumble?
The Rumble thing is interesting. It started off again through an analysis of something that Rumble was involved in. I want to say it was the Google lawsuit. And then I met Chris, and then Barnes and I were together at this time. We started with locals. I forget temporally what happened first, But then at some point we started helping with Rumble's terms of service and, providing legal advice, legal counsel. And then I got the contract with Rumble, which facilitated the visa. And, they sponsored me and they got.
The next thing I know, you're in the White House.
Oh, it's amazing. At what? So may Rumble live for a long time. I think it will.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute wild journey.
Man.
I was driving down to the Rumble studio in Miami, in the Bronco with the doors off, on top down on a Miami freeway, and I was like, in a million years, I could have never foreseen this. I had only been to Florida 3 or 4 times in my entire life up until the age of 20. And I never thought I'd leave Canada. Never thought I'd leave Montreal. Never thought I'd not be a lawyer. And life is wild.
Do you give any credence to God running your life or helping you run this? I mean, it seems like something a mortal could not do or foresee without a supreme being or higher power dealing with his life.
This is the issue. I
know you rack your brain over this every single day, but at some point you're going to have to make a decision.
Well, but then the problem is, how do you account for everybody who, the kid in camp who didn't make it out of the car? Like,
you can make it out of free will. I mean, you could, there is free will, Viva.
It is.
His father didn't get the brakes fixed, and the car went off the ledge, killing both of them. It's not really God's fault.
The problem is, like you say, like if to think that there's a reason why a higher power would have been, more giving with me and not as forgiving with others. That I don't know.
What do you have? Higher power guilt?
No, I haven't. No, there's no. I actually asked this to Gad Sad. Like I do.
Yeah.
Part of me has a guilt of being happy because no matter however fortunate I am, I recognize there's 99 other people who worked just as hard, or if not harder, and who didn't get lucky or who got fundamentally unlucky. Like a friend of mine died of cancer, like just for no better reason. Lord, maybe there were life decisions, but no.
I mean, if some guy smokes 10 packs of cigarettes a day, is it really luck that you didn't get cancer?
I can just say one thing. The flukes that I've had to survive unscathed, relatively unscathed, it's either divine or it's either just, good luck or a miracle or a mix of all three, or maybe they're all intertwined. But not a day goes by where I don't thank my lucky stars for everything that's happened to me and for the things that haven't happened to me.
Let me ask you this, just for the Justin's thing. I don't know about Ricardo or Buns, but who would you pick as a lawyer if you got arrested in some protest or something? I mean,
I would
dad? Would you bring your dad?
No, well, my best friend's father, who's the criminal lawyer, was always the one. I've never had to call him.
Right.
1,000%. And my best friend's dad was the most prominent criminal lawyer in Canada as well. So I had my criminal lawyer was my best friend's dad. I had my lawyer, which would always obviously been my dad. But I mean, like, by the grace of God, I never.
It's never happened. Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't get arrested at the trucker thing in Canada.
I could have gotten injured. Like, I was there when they were detonating concussive grenades.
Yeah.
And then, there were some people who didn't like me there, but they were on the other side of the protest lines. No, it's like someone makes it to the end of the poker tournaments, whether they want to or not. And that's kind of what life is like. Bad luck for good people, and good luck for bad people, and good luck for good people, and bad luck for bad people. And thus far, touch wood, it's been an absolute miracle of a journey that I don't know who to thank, but I do thank my lucky stars.
There's got to be. You're going to sell the movie rights to your life, or what are you going to do? Who's this here? Who's this?
Ethan.
Oh, Ethan's back again. All right, look,
go
deal with your kid.
Now we're not fishing now, but he wanted to go fishing. We got live bait in the fridge.
He wants to go fishing at night with flashlights on your heads.
We can do that.
I know you could do that.
I think he also wants to open up.
Oh yeah, he's got to get in there. He's got to get in there. All right. Well, this has been a couple of hours of interesting content.
Been amazing, Mark.
I'm glad you showed up. I got to thank you for doing this, but you did it for me. This is all payback. Hunley did it for me. You did it for me. Barnes did it for me. Rich Barris. So I mean, we're going to keep going.
This is it's nice to talk about the humans and not about.
Thank you. We don't need these are shows. We have plenty of other shows We don't need more argumentative shows on YouTube.
I would love to I would love to do these types of deep dives into the people who I politically loathe to understand what made them what they are. But
well, I like interviewing people, as a journalist. So I love doing it. So
that's like every person, no matter how ordinary they look, has a singularly unique life story.
I've interviewed people that are absolute normies. Becca Lee, thank you.
Look at
that baby's face. Look at that. Look at the size of that mouth on that baby. You could put 5 bottles in there. No, you could interview anybody on the street and you'll find the craziest stories. Every single person almost I've ever interviewed, I mean, complete nobodies, have blown my mind with just fascinating tales.
I just interviewed a beekeeper at the farm up the street, and it's just the intricacies of everybody's life is amazing.
Amazing.
And what they just take for granted as their hobbies, fascinating to anybody who's not, intimately involved in that hobby. So I got to edit that video together. But Jake the farmer, Afghanistan veteran, thousands of stories, and now operating a farm in Florida. Everybody, but I love it too. So thank you for having me on for your.
No, thank you for coming on. This is only the 2nd episode. I don't know where this is going, but it's kind of an experimental thing, and it's fun doing it, and we're going to keep doing it. I got a friend coming on next week, Stephen Fader, who's a writer director, has made a number of films, and we're going to talk about how to get films made in Hollywood and how it really works. I'm going to have other writer friends of mine, a guy who wrote for Russell Brand is coming on, and just people who really work in show business, who really are in the business. I wanted to get my friends from YouTube on here first because you guys know this format so well. But yeah, we're just going to do an interview series of people and see where it goes.
And there will be some amazing moments that will certainly be snipped and clipped and go viral, and some of them might go on to amazing, bigger and better things later on, and then they're going to go back. Like when we had JD Vance on, we were talking politics, but Lord knew we did not know he was going to become vice president.
That's bizarre. That's bizarre. That is bizarre. All right, Viv. I hope you had a good time. I'm sorry to drag you in here after your show, but it was just a question. We got Dr. Drew coming up in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks. We've got a guy named Robert Barnes coming on, and we're going to do the same thing with Rich Barris a week after that. And if you haven't subscribed, I can't even tell you to subscribe. You can do what you want, but you know the drill. You push the button,
you can tell them
subscribe.
How many
you
thumbs
can
up?
subscribe.
Only
I hate
47 thumbs up. Thumbs up, people. Come on,
give it some likes and give it some subscriptions. It wouldn't kill you. We're trying to get this thing launched, and I guess that's the end of the stream. So we got to just stick around. We'll say our goodbyes, Viva, in a couple of seconds. I'm going to click the magic button here. I don't know if we've got some outgoing music, or how do you like that intro? That was really good. We'll have to get something to go out, but all right, I'm just going to push this button for anybody who's still on the spectrum, so you're not going to get shocked by me pushing this button, which I just pushed. Okay.